Chapter 999. The Heavenly Sound Tribe did not even have the intention to decline Di Shurtian's invitation and immediately decided to move into the Demon City. However, the Heavenly Sound Tribe had lived in the valley for many years, and this move required a lot of packing. It was not something that could be done in a short period of time. Hence, the Demon City temporarily stopped in the sky above the valley. In the Lingxiao Palace, Di Shurtian sat on the throne with Chun Shi beside him. On both sides of the main hall stood various important demon race officials. Bai Yuan Kong, Yuan Tian, Yuan Zhan, Bai Susu, He Xian Qi Hua, Rada, Mingxi, Hu Luzi, Xie San Yang, Shui Shi, Azura Sha, Peacock Goddess, Assassin Emperor, Dan Huang, and many others. They were lined up in order and filled the main hall. The main hall naturally exuded an invisible majestic aura. It gave all the officials standing in the hall an invisible pressure. They did not dare to show the slightest bit of disrespect in the hall and developed a sense of reverence. With regards to Sakura, who was sitting on top, the group of demons only took a glance at him, and they couldn't help but shift their gazes away, as if they had seen an unscalable peak. Their minds were shaken. It was as if there was an indescribable majestic aura around him that knocked on their minds and brought about endless pressure. This was the Emperor's aura that was getting stronger and stronger. I have obtained the Demon Summoning Banner. The demon race has now reached 10 billion people, and the number of demon race members born in the city is increasing day by day. It has already recovered to the state of the Antiquity Age. The world is about to change, and the demon race will officially establish an emperor dynasty that will unify the planning of the demon race. I have decided to establish the demon court in 3 years and ascend to the throne as the emperor. Di Shurtian sat on the throne, and his eyes shone with divine light as he spoke word by word. His voice echoed clearly in the main hall and fell into everyone's mind. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Immediately, the eyes of the demons all shone brightly at the same time. Their eyes were filled with excitement, and even their bodies trembled. Establishing a demon court was basically the thing that every single demon present looked forward to the most. How could they not be excited when they heard that? Your Majesty is wise, the group of demons called out respectfully. His voice echoed in the hall like thunder. His excited voice could be heard faintly. Di Shurtian's expression was calm as he turned to Mengxi and Hu and asked, Mengxi, Hu, how is the matter of the demon court that I instructed you to do? Mengxi and Hu stood up at the same time, feeling the gazes on them as if there were countless mountains pressing down on their heads. Your Majesty, Hu took a step forward and held a jade booklet in his hand. He said excitedly, Mengxi and I have sorted out together, using the human race and even the imperial court structure of the various imperial dynasties as reference. We have already formulated the structure of the demon court and written it in the booklet. Your Majesty, please take a look. Immediately, a maidservant quickly walked down, took the jade booklet, and handed it to Di Shurtian. He picked up a jade booklet and scanned it quickly. After a few glances, he could not help but nod slightly. In the jade booklet, the division of the demon court's functions, combined with the situation in the demon city, had already been divided into various functions. Not only was it comprehensive, but it was also detailed and concise. It could be said to be a rather good plan. Smack! He gently put down the jade booklet and nodded. All right, I'm very satisfied with the division of the various functions of the demon court. There will be rewards. When the demon court is established, they will be distributed. The establishment of the demon court was imminent, and all the rewards would be distributed when it was established. At that time, it would definitely be an unprecedented grand occasion. It would also be more glorious. Thank you, Your Majesty, Hu was so shrewd that he immediately understood the meaning of Di Shurtian's words. His face began to glow and glow. Shura Shah, you are in charge of the military governor. You are in charge of training the demon generals and instilling elite demon soldiers into the various armies. How many demon soldiers are there in total in the military governor? What are their cultivation levels? Di Shurtian asked the demon army again. No matter the time, the demon army was the most important force. When the demon court was established, the strength of the demon army was the face of the demon race, and even the overall strength of the demon army. Moreover, the training grounds of the demon army were all in the land of exile. This was the most important place for the rise of the demon race. Shura Shah still carried the slender Shura battle saber on his back. He took a step forward and said coldly, "Demon Emperor, all the demons have a heart to protect their current status and dignity." All the demons eagerly joined the army. I selected those with potential to enter the military governor guard and send them to the land of exile. At this moment, the military governor guard already has 60 million demon soldiers. They are well-trained and can deal with any changes in the military formation. Every one of them, even the weakest of them, has reached the 7th transformation demon core realm. As long as there is enough time, they can become stronger. The laws of heaven and earth in the land of exile were different, and the flow of time was different. The living environment inside was more cruel and difficult. Every moment was spent in slaughter. In such an environment, the growth speed was hundreds or thousands of times faster than the outside world. Moreover, the demon soldiers nurtured were all elites who had climbed out of slaughter. 60 million demon soldiers? Tian pondered and said, "This number is still too little compared to the 1,000 demon city and the overall population of the demon race. Fill the military governor guard with 100 million demon soldiers. Once it is filled, the number will not change in the future. Once the demon soldiers are transferred away, immediately fill it up. 100 million demon soldiers, no more, no less. I want the military governor guard to be able to send enough demon soldiers to replenish the various armies at any time. This will ensure that even if more than half of the armies are lost, they can immediately maintain their best combat strength." The demon race's population had already reached close to 10 billion. Recruiting only 100 million demon soldiers was already very little. A strong army was equivalent to a strong demon race. The backbone of a race was supported by the army. "Yes, Demon Emperor." Shura Shah's eyes flashed when he heard this, and he nodded without hesitation. In the demon race, there was no lack of experts among the groups of demons who returned one after another. "Oh, we must start counting the number of demons in the 1,000 demon city as soon as possible. After the demon court is established, we must immediately conduct a census. At that time, we will issue identity tokens as proof of identity. Those without such tokens must be strictly investigated. You must do it diligently." Tian thought for a moment and ordered again. "Yes, sir," who nodded and agreed. He also believed that this census was quite necessary. Not only could he grasp the exact number of demons, but he could also know the changes in the number of demons in the city. It would be more convenient to find a certain expert. "Tian Can, Huang Quan. We are here." Tian Can, Huang Quan, and Huang Quan stepped forward and answered respectfully. "How is the refining of the emperor's robe that I gave you previously?" Tian looked at the two elders and asked. Back then, when he had found out the method to refine the emperor's robe, he had given them the Saint Lotus of purification that he had snatched from the alchemy emperor and asked them to refine the emperor's robe using the soul refining gourd. This emperor's robe had to be used when establishing the demon court and ascending to the throne. "Your Majesty," Tian Can hurriedly said, "the emperor's robe will take another year to be completed." "Oh, as long as you dare to refine it before the establishment of the demon court." Tian nodded and did not rush them. He paused for a moment and changed the topic. "The two of you immediately follow this blueprint and build the demon sealing altar to prepare for the establishment of the demon court." After saying that, a jade box appeared in his hand and was handed to Tian Can, Huang Quan by a maidservant. The jade box naturally contained the blueprint of the demon sealing altar. "Yes, Your Majesty. We will definitely not let Your Majesty down." Tian Can, Huang Quan, took the jade box and felt that it was indescribably heavy. Their expressions turned serious as they spoke in an abnormally solemn manner. They knew the demon sealing altar was the place where the demon summoning banner would be hung in the future. It could be said to be an extremely important place to the demon race. It was related to the foundation of the demon race. There was absolutely no room for any mistakes. Pass down the order to all the worlds. The demon race will officially establish the demon court in 3 years. On the day of the establishment of the demon court, all the cultivators of the heavens can come and watch the ceremony. Sakura finally glanced at the group of demons and spat out a sentence. As soon as he finished speaking, the meeting was dismissed. However, this time, the matter of the establishment of the demon court in the meeting was not deliberately concealed. It was simply spread in all directions like a flood or a ferocious beast. First, it spread throughout the ancient city and was heard by the spies who had infiltrated. Immediately, all kinds of news spread to the various major forces and countless cultivators at an astonishing speed. Quick, quick, quick! Something big has happened. It is said that the Demon Emperor has already found the legendary demon race's supreme treasure, the Demon Summoning Banner. He has already issued a declaration that he will establish the first demon court of the demon race in 3 years and officially ascend to the throne. In the future, he will no longer be the Demon Emperor, but the true Demon Emperor. Is the demon race really going to rise? Demon court, oh my God. The demon race is actually going to be like the human race and establish an imperial dynasty that truly rules everything. If this is really established, the demon race will really turn from a plate of scattered slaughter into a vast ocean. When all the power is gathered together, the power that erupts will be extremely powerful and terrifying. To establish an imperial dynasty with one race, and it's the ancient overlord of the demon race. Something is going to happen. Something big is going to happen. The Demon Emperor actually announced that he wants the cultivators of the heavens to come and observe the ceremony. Isn't he afraid that someone won't be able to stand it and will cause trouble? At the very least, the human race definitely doesn't want to see the demon race establish a demon court. The demon race is really going to rise and explode. With the demon city around, no one can do anything to the demon race now. The establishment of the demon court is probably an irreversible matter. The establishment of the demon court will definitely be an unprecedented event. At that time, it will definitely be very lively. It is said that after the establishment of the demon court, the purple firmament auction will officially begin. I have to exchange for some demon coins as soon as possible. At that time, I can buy some needed treasures at the auction. For a time, the demon city once again became the main topic of discussion in the purple gold continent. Almost instantly, countless forces turned their gazes to the demon city. In the dark, they were constantly calculating what kind of huge changes the appearance of the demon court would bring to the world. To be continued. If you want to know what will happen, please go to www.chidian.com. There are more chapters. Support the author. Support the original reading. Chapter 1000. So today I took a look. 2 days later, it will be my birthday again. I'm 1 year older. Today's chapter title is for myself. Star Clan. In the endless starry sky, stars gathered one after another, forming a star region. In the depths of the starry sky, there was a unique star region where countless stars revolved according to a mysterious orbit. Every star shone with resplendent starlight, radiating with vitality. There were a large number of living beings living on the stars. They gathered into countries. On the foreheads of these living beings, there was a hidden star mark. It was as though they were born with an inconceivable affinity with the power of stars. The power of stars drifting in the heavens and earth naturally gathered in their bodies. This allowed their strength to grow as they grew older. Newborn children would have a star mark on their foreheads. As they cultivated, those with potential would have more star marks on their foreheads. Every time one of them increased, it would mean a huge breakthrough and transformation in their cultivation base. Just like Xing He, who was seen in the Myriad Tribulations cave, he had 7 star marks between his eyebrows. It meant that his cultivation base had reached the immortal emperor realm. So on and so forth. 8 star marks meant one was an eternal overlord. 9 star marks meant one was a peerless expert. In the center of this star field, there were 9 brightest stars. Each star was shockingly large and bright, and the starlight they emitted was completely different. The light was different, and they formed a string, like a straight sort of stars. The 9 stars were all different. They were Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, Mars, Saturn, Thunder, Wind, Dark, and Sun. The 9 stars were aligned and had the supreme power to travel through the void. Among the 9 stars, there was a huge star palace. In the palace, there were 2 rows of seats. Each of the star thrones naturally revealed supreme majesty, making it difficult to get close to them. At the top of the main seat, there was a throne that was taller than the other thrones. At that moment, in the hall, the Star Tribe experts were seated on the star thrones. Every one of them was exuding a faintly discernible supreme will. On the main seat, there was a middle-aged man in a star robe. The man was tall and slender. His face revealed a profound look, like a pool of deep lake water. It was difficult to see his temperament at first glance. However, just by sitting on the throne, he naturally revealed an indescribable majesty that deterred all the experts in the palace. Everyone, there is news from the informant. It said that the tracks of 3,000 great Daos have appeared in Demon City. The aura in the city is more concealed. It seems like it has advanced further, and its dependence on purple gold mainland has weakened. It is getting closer to the realm of Great Tao. Once it is achieved, Demon City will become immortal, comparable to purple gold mainland and demon god mainland. To be able to manifest 3,000 great Daos in the city, this ancient city has unlimited potential. This is one of them. The middle-aged man seemed to be deep in the sea. There was an inexplicable magnetism in his voice. There seemed to be billions of stars twinkling in his eyes, containing a boundless galaxy. He continued, "Secondly, the Demon King has found the demon summoning banner. He intends to establish the demon court in 3 years and officially proclaim himself as the emperor. What do you think about this? Feel free to tell me." As soon as he finished speaking, the experts sitting in the palace felt as if thousands of thunderbolts suddenly flashed in their minds. Either of these 2 matters was a major event. For example, the tracks of 3,000 great Daos appearing in Demon City was a matter of great importance. It should be known that although supreme artifacts were said to be self-contained, they could be directly supplied by the primordial chi spring of the divine artifact. For example, if the primordial chi spring of a supreme artifact was an extremely cold primordial spiritual treasure, every inch of the void in the divine artifact would be filled with pure cold air. If one cultivated a cold attribute cultivation method in such an environment, it would naturally be very fast. The speed was very fast. The combat power was also extremely terrifying. However, there was a considerable restriction on the development of Supreme Artifact. It was naturally not a big problem at the Supreme level. However, if one wanted to advance from the Supreme level to the Immortal level, it was like a natural chasm that could not be crossed. Because it had gone to the extreme, it did not have the potential to evolve heaven and earth on its own. The laws of heaven and earth and the great Tao laws inside were perfect. At best, it was just a small world and could not become a big world. Going to the extreme, it was already fundamentally imbalanced. It was difficult to make up for the minimum yin and yang and 5 elements that constituted heaven and earth. It lost its self-contained foundation. The supreme level was its limit. And when Demon City was advancing and transforming, it actually showed traces of 3,000 great Daos. This was a kind of foundation. This meant that Demon City had the infinite potential to transform into the immortal level. Once it became the immortal level, it would be another purple gold continent. How could this matter not be important? Compared to this, the matter of the Demon Court was a level lower. Star-Lord, in Xinghe's opinion, Demon City has infinite potential. Once it transforms into the immortal level, the Demon Clan will definitely be able to use it to soar into the sky and reach a height that no other clan in the heavens can reach now. The relationship with the Demon Clan must be strengthened again. We must be on good terms with them at all costs. The icing on the cake is never as good as providing charcoal in the snow. This is the moment when the demon clan needs support and allies the most. Based on my understanding of the Demon King, he must be a great hero. Sitting at the end of the hall was a young man in green clothes. He was the genius of the Star Clan's younger generation, Xinghe, who had met Di Shirtian before. At this moment, the starlight spots on his forehead had already transformed into 8. Once he became an eternal giant, he would have a seat in the Star Hall. Xinghe is right. The rise of the Demon Clan is unstoppable. If we can add a little bit of strength, as long as the Demon King remembers in the future, our Star Clan may be able to enter Demon City and survive. This is related to the great plan of inheritance. This time, the Demon King wants to establish the Demon Court, so our clan should help. As long as this friendship exists, we will get more in the future. An old man, whose eyes flashed with wisdom, said in a deep voice, Star-Lord, Xinghe has met the Demon King before. I am willing to go to Demon City to congratulate the establishment of the Demon Court. Secondly, I can improve my relationship with the Demon King. Xinghe stood up and volunteered. Yes, approved. The Star-Lord looked at Xinghe seriously, and his eyes revealed a gentle look. He nodded and said, Go to the inner treasury and withdraw 3,000 star crystals. Then, choose some treasures and bring them over. Congratulate the establishment of the Demon Court and the Demon King's joy of becoming the Emperor. Send my regards to the Demon King on my behalf. Also, pass a message. It is a pity that I did not have the chance to meet the Demon King in ancient times. It is my honor to hear about it in this life. After the Star-Lord finished speaking, a complicated look appeared in his eyes. He was an old antique that had survived since ancient times. The seal that had always existed in the depths of his memory had suddenly been unsealed recently, and an ancient secret had surfaced once again. The name of the Demon King jumped into his eyes again. In his mind, he could not help but feel his soul tremble when he thought about the Demon King's monstrous achievements in ancient times. Demon King, oh Demon King, in the past, who would have known that you would actually be a peerless expert who left a deep mark in ancient times? You used strength to prove your Tao, he secretly exclaimed in his heart. Not only did he not look down on Di Shirtian, but he also placed him above himself. His achievements in ancient times were simply too shocking. Dragon Clan, Three-Eyed God Clan, Azura Clan, Shadow Clan, Force Clan. Wait, the various clans, major forces, and even the human race were all shocked by the series of actions of the Demon Clan. They held meetings without stopping to discuss countermeasures. There were those who were happy to see it happen, and naturally, there were also those who were hostile. There were different opinions. In short, there were some undercurrents surging between heaven and earth because of Di Shirtian's edict. At this moment, the Demon City was still hovering above the heavenly sound valley. Below, the heavenly sound tribe was like a torrent, constantly sorting out all kinds of things and preparing to move to the Demon City to live. Every one of them had a hopeful look on their faces for the future. In the fairy pool, in the 100 Flowers garden, Katomi, who was wearing a plain white dress, had an intellectual and elegant temperament, and her face was filled with happiness. She stood quietly among the flowers and casually sized up all kinds of strange flowers that had been blooming for a long time. Smelling the fragrance of the flowers, she recalled the scene when she was on the platform. Her heart was as sweet as honey. Big Brother D still has me in his heart. Her delicate red lips softly spat out a sentence, and her face flushed red. Of course, a voice sounded behind her. She turned around and saw that Di Shirtian, who was dressed in a black robe, had appeared behind her. He no longer had the majesty that he had in the Lingxiao treasure hall. All his aura was restrained, and he was just like an ordinary person. There was even a gentle smile at the corner of his mouth. Big Brother D. Katomi's eyes were filled with surprise. Di Shirtian's eyes were filled with gentleness. He stepped forward and pulled that pair of jade-like hands that seemed to have been crafted by the heavens, gently holding them in his hands. He looked in her eyes and said emotionally, Back then, when I was learning the zither in the heavenly sound valley, I met you, Qin Xin. I Dishur Tion, am not a rotten wood. I am not completely ignorant of your feelings. It's just that back then, I shouldered the lives of a group of subordinates. To me, feelings were just an extravagant wish. Even if I knew, I couldn't give you the happiness you wanted. That's why I left silently. There was a hint of melancholy in his voice, which made him recall his past experience. He paused and continued. Now that we have the demon city as our foundation, the demon tribe's inheritance is orderly, and there is no danger of being destroyed easily. Katomi, you have a deep affection for me. How can I let you down? From now on, you're my consort, Sheen. As long as I am around, anyone who wants to hurt you will have to step over my dead body. As he spoke, two threatening rays of cold light shot out from his eyes. The blissful glow on Katomi's face became more and more intense. Her mind was filled with a sense of intoxication. She unconsciously snuggled her delicate body into Dishur Tian's arms. She pressed her head against his chest and listened to his strong heartbeat. An endless sense of comfort and security emerged in her heart. Silence spoke louder than words. A strong sense of affection pervaded the surroundings. After a long time, Katomi raised her head and said, "By the way, my father and the elders in the tribe know that my husband is constantly searching for treasures to strengthen the demon city and to supplement the laws of heaven and earth in the city. My heavenly sound tribe has made many achievements in the Tao of Rhythm. Now that we are moving into the city, some of the treasures from the past are no longer needed. So they asked me to give them to you. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation." Chapter 1001. Gift the Heavenly Sound Tribe with a Treasure. Sakura couldn't help but be slightly taken aback. The Heavenly Sound Clan was known as the clan with the deepest understanding of music in the world. Those born in the clan were born with an indescribable talent for music. Every one of them was good at music, cultivated the art of sound attacks, and even researched and created pieces of music scores for sound attacks. They comprehended the principles of nature. They often had miraculous effects. In the scripture pavilion of the tribe, there were countless music scores and various kinds of music scores. The Heavenly Sound Tribe's understanding and comprehension of the way of music was second to none. If he could get their help, the music talisman in the Ultimate Emperor Jade archive could be perfected immediately. Every completed talisman would be of great help to the laws of heaven and earth in the demon city, making the heaven and earth more stable. The 3,000 great paths were like a net of law, the pillars that supported the building. The current net of law was in tatters. Every completed talisman was repairing the net of law. Every talisman was extremely important. The way of music was extremely obscure. Even though Dishur Tion was proficient in music, he was not confident that he could complete the music talisman in one go. Yes, these are the ones. Katomi steadied herself. Light flashed in her hands, and 3 jade boxes appeared. She opened the boxes. In the first box was a 7-colored stone. However, there were mysterious heavenly sounds in the stone. Although the heavenly sounds were messy, they were as pleasant as the sounds of nature. There seemed to be the principles of music in them. This is the legendary heavenly sound stone. Min could not help but gasp. He exclaimed, "Legend has it that when the heaven and earth were created, the most original sound condensed into a primordial divine stone. It contains the original sound of heaven and earth and can give birth to all the music in the world. It is said that the heavenly sound stone is extremely rare in the world. You can use it to comprehend mysterious music scores. This kind of divine stone is a rare treasure for people who cultivate music. What good piece of godly stone. If I can integrate it into the Ultimate Emperor Jade archive, it won't be difficult to perfect it compared to the musical charm." Dishur Tion was secretly delighted. Now he was searching for treasures of heaven and earth to supplement the demon city. This jade box contains more than half of the music classics collected by the Heavenly Sound Tribe over the generations. Apart from the immortal tunes secretly passed down in our tribe, the rest are all here. Katomi chuckled as she opened the second jade box. Inside were volumes of ancient music manuals. Their value was immeasurable. The last jade box contains a spirit root that my clan has collected, the sapling of the heavenly cord purple bamboo. After the plant is successfully planted, the heavenly note purple bamboo will have a unique advantage in refining musical instruments. Katomi placed all the treasures that the heavenly sound tribe had sent over to Di-Shirtion. Di-Shirtion accepted the 3 jade boxes without hesitation and said, "All right, Ancestor. Since the heavenly sound tribe has treated me so well, I won't be stingy either. Come with me." After he finished speaking, he waved his hand. Suddenly, the scenery in front of him changed abruptly. When he looked again, he was already in a vast void. In the middle of the void, a huge jade archive was spinning slowly at a constant speed. In the jade archive, countless iron chains were intertwined to bind a huge blood lotus. In the void, there were 3,000 lotus platforms floating. Most of them were illusory, and only a few were real. The lotuses were spinning at a constant speed, swallowing the essence of heaven and earth. The Tao rhyme emitted from each lotus was different. Inside, one could vaguely see a world spinning continuously. It was flourishing. Katomi widened her eyes in surprise. She could vaguely guess where she was. This is the core of the void in the demon city. That jade archive is the origin of the ancient city's essence. There are 3,000 lotuses around it, representing the 3,000 great Taos. Each great Tao can evolve into a world. There is the most fundamental Tao rhyme in it. Di-Shirtion smiled faintly and said, "Ancestor, since your tribe is determined to help me, I can't not return the favor." After he finished speaking, he opened the jade box in his hand. The 7-colored heavenly sound stone flew quickly into the jade archive with a wave of his hand and appeared above the chaotic divine flame. Using the chaotic divine flame to smelt the heavenly sound stone, it was strange. Under the burning of the chaotic divine flame, the heavenly sound stone melted at a speed visible to the naked eye. It turned into a magical origin source rune, emitting a 7-colored divine glow. It emitted waves of heavenly sound. It gathered into a torrent and merged into the jade archive. The heavenly soundstone was the origin source rune formed by the first sound in the world. It contained the origin source of sound. It could be said to be the origin of the Tao of rhythm. It contained the most complete Tao of rhythm. At this moment, as soon as it was refined and integrated into the jade archive, it could be clearly seen that within the jade archive, there was a simple and elegant broken talisman. Suddenly, 7-colored musical notes drilled into the talisman. The most original musical notes instantly outlined countless sound patterns within the talisman. The talisman was completed at a speed visible to the naked eye. Clang, clang, clang. One could clearly see the appearance of musical instruments in the talisman. There were zither, flutes, and so on. They were constantly disappearing and disappearing. Faint waves of beautiful heavenly sound continued to reverberate. Jailers, inject music scores. As Di-Shirtion's voice fell, a crack appeared in the void. Countless jailers quickly emerged and took out music scores from the jade box. They quickly imprinted them into the jade archive with their divine consciousness. These music scores entered the Tao of rhythm talisman one after another. Immediately, the heavenly sound reverberated inside, preaching the mysterious Tao of rhythm. When the heavenly sound stone was completely refined, the entire Tao of rhythm talisman was completed in an instant. Rumble. The moment the talisman was completed, an illusory Tao of rhythm talisman imprinted on the jade archive flew into the air and merged into an illusory lotus. Instantly, the lotus condensed into a physical body at an incredible speed. In the lotus, a world was quickly opened up. Every inch of the void in the world was filled with the wonderful heavenly sound. It seemed to be infinitely close to the Tao of rhythm. Comprehending the Tao of rhythm. Inside, embryos of heavenly instruments were nurtured. They were all musical instruments. Even the sound of flowing water seemed to have the charm of rhythm. The entire world exuded a kind of elegant and quiet charm. It was like a fairyland in a painting. Inside, one's body was majestic. The Tao of Rhythm world was formed. Ancestor. This world of rhythm was created by the Tao of Rhythm. It contains the origin of rhythm. It has unparalleled benefits for cultivators of rhythm. When the heavenly sound tribe moves into Demon City, this world of rhythm will be given to them to live in, Tian said with a faint smile. The moment the Tao of Rhythm was completed, new Tao inscriptions appeared in the ancient city and merged into the world. In the ancient city, the world became more stable. Some of the cultivators who cultivated music only felt that their understanding of music had become clearer and clearer. Thank you, husband. Katomi's eyes lit up when she heard that. How could she not know that the world that existed here was the most fundamental world in Demon City? It grew together with Demon City. As the world moved, the world inside would continue to grow and expand. Eventually, it would become a boundless world. Comprehending the Tao inside would be clearer and more direct. There were endless benefits. The world of rhythm was the most suitable place for the heavenly sound tribe to live in. You and I are husband and wife. There's no need for formalities. Tian hugged Katomi's soft waist gently and said calmly. Looking at the Ultimate Emperor's Jade Archive, he thought to himself, I still have a few treasures. The Libra of Destiny was made by the Master of Destiny himself. It contains the Tao of Destiny. However, destiny is very profound. The Libra alone might not be able to complete the talisman. If I can get the Taishu treasure mirror from Tai Xian and obtain its Art of Destiny, I might be able to complete the Libra of Destiny. Demon City had just been promoted to the upper grade Supreme Being level. If it was promoted again, it would reach the pinnacle. However, it needed more than just materials. It also needed to complete the Tao in the Ultimate Emperor's Jade Archive. I have to find the forbidden red lotus. A thought quickly flashed through his mind. After accompanying Katomi back to Fairy Lake and taking a walk around, Tian did not stop and return to his inner world. At this moment, his inner world had expanded to a radius of 100,000 miles. Demonic souls were sent into the altar of lust to be refined into sacred spirits of lust. Now, there were 10,000 sacred spirits in the virtual illusory land. The power of lust and the imperial purple chi emitted from them poured into the inner world, causing it to expand almost every moment. It expanded along with the infernal prison. It made the inner world extremely strong, and the barrier between heaven and earth was extremely stable. After returning to the inner world, he entered the palace and sat down on the futon. A light flashed in his hand, and a small crystal flag appeared. There were mysterious patterns intertwined on the flag, as if it carried the aura of destiny, the truth of heaven and earth, the mystery of the soul, and so on. He could not tell what the material of the flag was. It was not a spiritual material that he knew of. On it, there were specks of light that flickered and disappeared like fireflies. Divine flame of punishment. Tian looked at the small flag in his hand with a dignified look in his eyes. He shouted softly, and the divine eye of punishment between his brows instantly opened. In the divine eye, a beam of purple gold light burst out and condensed into a ball of flames in front of him. Demon summoning flag. From now on, you're not the demon summoning flag, but the demon sealing roll in my hand. The small crystal flag appeared on the divine flame of punishment. The flame emitted an endless power of punishment, constantly tempering the demon's summoning flag. The banner itself had an inexplicable connection with Sakura. Under his will, the demon summoning banner didn't resist the divine flames of heaven's punishment at all. Under the tempering of the divine flames, the pole of the banner melted at a speed visible to the naked eye. Even the triangular body of the banner began to change shape. It began to transform into a rectangular scroll shape. Vaguely, there were countless mysterious patterns that flowed quickly as if they were alive. Time continued to pass. In the blink of an eye, 3 years passed quietly. It was already the day when the demon court was established. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1002. On this day, there was an endless stream of people in the demon city. Large groups of people gathered at the southern heavenly gate and entered the demon city. Hundreds of races came one after another. The dragon race, the force race, the star race, the three-eyed god race, the beast race, the skeleton race, the netherworld ghost race, and so on walked into the ancient city with great fanfare. They came with the etiquette of envoys. They signed up and came for an audience according to the normal rules. In total, the number was enormous. Fortunately, Tion had already prepared for this. Previously, he had already asked Hu, Mengshi, and the others to make arrangements. In the city, a place that could accommodate 100 million envoys was built, the All Heavens Courier Station. It was located in the east of the Lingxiao Palace, which meant that purple qi came from the east, indicating the arrival of distinguished guests. Inside, every room was an independent small space. Not only was the scenery beautiful, but it was also vast and had its own independent courtyard. However, this was only used when there was a large-scale contact with the major forces. At this moment, the All Heavens Courier Station was full. It was obvious how many guests came. Huff! In the inner world, Tion slowly exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and said, as if relieved of a heavy burden, "Finally, the refining is complete. From now on, there will be no more demon summoning banners in the world, only the demon sealing roll." Tian's brows creased with joy. The heavenly punishment divine flame in front of him dissipated, and a crystal scroll about 99 feet long appeared in front of him. Inside the scroll, there was a faint layer of mist that constantly rippled. Within the mist, there were specks of true spirits that resembled stars that adorned the scroll. They were emitting faint and bright lights. It looked as if the scroll was showing a star map, with a faint purple mist rising from it. It exuded a noble aura. There was the charm of the supreme life theory on it. With this demon sealing proclamation, the Mad Emperor could very well be a supreme treasure that had fallen from the ancient celestial realm. The establishment of the demon court was almost unstoppable. Without experiencing it personally, no one could imagine the true function of this demon sealing proclamation. Once they knew about it, who knew how many experts and talented people would scramble to enter the demon court to serve? Compared to the other imperial dynasties, this demon sealing role is the greatest temptation. That temptation is something no one can resist. Nether sat on the wheel of reincarnation in the Nether prison. His eyes shone, and he chuckled strangely and said with certainty, 3 years are up, and now is the time for you to ascend to the throne. Demon Emperor, this is a title that has never appeared in the ancient times. Madman D, you could be considered as the first demon emperor of the demon race. You will leave your name in history. Yes, it's time to go out. Tion reached out and rolled the demon sealing roll into a scroll. He held it in his hand and felt the softness of the unknown material. It was as if it had become one with the demon sealing roll. His face naturally exuded a dignified expression, and he said, "Today is the day I start a new era of the demon race." There was a hint of fierceness in his body. The establishment of the demon court was irresistible. Anyone who dared to stop it would be crushed into powder. Whoosh! With a thought, his figure naturally appeared in Yao Qi's bedroom. "Welcome, Your Majesty." As soon as he appeared, he heard a series of orderly greetings. In the bedroom, Chun Shi, Su Tianxiang, and Katomi were all dressed in splendid attire. It was natural and appropriate, but also set off a sense of elegance and dignity. Especially Chun Shi, who was wearing a lavender palace robe and a phoenix crown. There was a faint layer of mist on his face, and his appearance was faintly discernible. It seemed that his temperament was constantly changing. His aura was constantly changing. It added a touch of mystery. White Fox was dressed in a light green palace dress. Her slender figure accentuated her perfect figure. On her wrist, a colorful ribbon fluttered without wind. Every time she smiled, there was an inexplicable charm. However, there was a trace of coldness on her body. Katomi was also wearing a white palace robe. Her slender black hair was draped behind her shoulders. Her elegance and tranquility were not inferior to any woman. Around them, beautiful palace maids were wearing immortal robes. They were all beautiful and could be said to be peerless. But here, none of them dared to show the slightest bit of seduction. They were all educated by etiquette. In their hands were jade plates for grooming and a black emperor's robe. On the emperor's robe, the azure dragon, the vermilion bird, the black tortoise, the white tiger, and the Chelan suppressed heaven and earth. The 5 divine beasts appeared. 9 azure dragons, 9 vermilion birds, 9 black tortoises, 9 Chelants, and 9 white tigers. They were faintly discernible on the emperor's robe, constantly disappearing. It exuded the supreme emperor's might of heaven and earth. Just this emperor's robe alone could be said to be a supreme treasure. Even if ordinary cultivators got their hands on it, they would have to endure endless pressure if they even approached it without permission, let alone wearing it. There was a possibility that they would be directly suppressed to death and devoured by the divine beasts on the emperor's robe. Those who did not cultivate the emperor's Tao did not have that kind of life to bear it. This is the emperor's robe. Di Shurtian's gaze fell on the emperor's robe. Reporting to your majesty, Tian Can and Huang Quan have already finished refining this emperor's robe a year ago. When it was out of the furnace, 9 azure dragons, 9 white tigers, 9 vermilion birds, 9 black tortoises, and 9 Chelants appeared in the city. They were thrown into the furnace and integrated into the emperor's robe. Qingxia stepped forward and replied respectfully, "Your Majesty, please put on the robe." Di Shurtian did not hesitate any longer. After quickly washing up, he immediately put on the emperor's robe. When he wore the robe, it naturally adjusted itself according to the size of his body to achieve the most perfect state. It was just right to set off the emperor's aura. What an excellent emperor's robe. It's worthy of being the emperor's robe refined by the fusion of the ancient divine Tao and immortal Tao. When I wear it and integrate it with my body, it can absorb the divine Tao's incense and emperor's purple qi. It's constantly growing stronger. It's worthy of being a divine artifact. Di Shurtian could feel all the information transmitted from the emperor's robe and could not help but nod to himself. This emperor's robe was worthy of being a divine artifact refined from the sacred cleansing lotus. Walking out of the sleeping quarters, he took the lead and walked side by side with Chunshi beside him. Baihu and Katomi were half a step behind. They walked all the way out of the jade pool. Outside, Mengshi, Tian Can, Huang Quan, Gourd Seed, and the others were all waiting respectfully. When they saw them coming out, they immediately followed behind. They walked straight to the demon's sealing altar. At this moment, outside the Lingxiao Palace, an incomparably huge high platform stood tall. This high platform had a total of 99 steps and was octagonal in shape. As one ascended the steps, the high platform was like a pyramid, decreasing in size as one ascended. There were mysterious runes on the top of the platform. Countless portraits of the various demon clans were engraved on them. There were dragons, tigers, phoenixes, Chelants, flowers, trees, birds, and beasts, and so on. It exuded a kind of solemnity. On every step of the high platform, there were emotionless blood-killing guards with cold gazes guarding the steps without moving at all. The cold-killing intent made ordinary cultivators not dare to approach the high platform at all. Below the high platform, there was a huge obelisk. On the obelisk, there were a few ancient demon runes imprinted on it. The demon sealing altar. These 3 ancient words were filled with formless majesty. This high platform was the demon sealing tower, the place where the demon sealing roll was hung. The entire demon sealing altar was made of supreme grade, divine crystals. Just the value of the material was immeasurable. This supreme grade divine crystal was extremely difficult for even peerless experts to destroy. It was unbelievably hard. Outside the demon sealing altar, there were already countless figures surrounding it. There were demon clans and 100 clans from the heavens who had come to congratulate and watch the ceremony. All of their eyes unconsciously fell on the demon sealing altar. They knew that the establishment of the demon court would be carried out on this demon sealing altar. Later, it would be the time for the demon emperor to ascend the altar to worship his ancestors, establish the demon court, and officially proclaim himself emperor. Almost no cultivator was willing to miss the upcoming grand event, an unprecedented grand event. It is said that the demon emperor will ascend the demon sealing altar later and take out the demon summoning banner. He will ascend to the heavens to worship his ancestors and comfort the ancient demon clan heroic spirits. At that time, our demon clan will truly establish an imperial court that belongs to us. We will protect our demon clan citizens and not be bullied by any outsiders. I have been looking forward to this day for who knows how many years. A bull demon with 2 horns on his head said excitedly, his eyes filled with anticipation. That's right. His Majesty, the Demon Emperor, has done so many great things for our demon clan. He built the demon city and forcefully suppressed the heavens so that our demon clan could return smoothly. He even opened the Linglong Pagoda and the Sutra Pavilion so that our demon clan descendants don't have to worry about cultivation techniques. One by one, all of them are great things that have benefited the entire demon clan. It's natural for him to establish the demon court and become the demon emperor. I only submit to the demon emperor. If others call themselves the demon emperor, I won't admit it. Another demon race member whose eyes were constantly darting around said, with a fervent expression on his face. His eyes were filled with awe and respect. He was not surprised or conflicted at all about Di Shurtion wanting to proclaim himself emperor. Instead, he was happy to see it happen and had been looking forward to it for a long time. Such discussions could be heard everywhere in the demon city. Every demon clan member could be said to have received Di Shurtion's favor. The gratitude in their hearts was already beyond compare. This kind of favor that allowed them to regain their dignity was incomparable. Di Shurtion wants to establish the demon court and proclaim himself emperor. It's not bad to establish the demon court, but the position of demon emperor might not be yours. The position of emperor takes turns. This year, it's my turn. No one noticed that among the swarming demons, there was a middle-aged man in a red robe with a burly figure. There was a mysterious flame mark between his eyebrows and blood-red hair that fluttered behind his head. The corners of his mouth curled into a sinister smile as he looked meaningfully at the demon sealing arena. The faint demonic aura that was emitted from his body indicated that he was also a demon clan member. The demon emperor has arrived. Amidst the discussions of countless cultivators, a loud shout suddenly reverberated through the void. Immediately, the surroundings and even the entire demon city became solemn. There was complete silence all around. Even the sound of a pin dropping on the ground could be heard clearly. Although many cultivators had gathered, the main roads were guarded by elite demon soldiers, making the roads normal and leading straight to the demon sealing arena. Di Shurtion led the way, and all the important officials of the demon city gathered behind him. Under countless gazes, he arrived in front of the demon sealing arena with a solemn expression. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come Achidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1003. It's my birthday today. I feel quite happy, but there doesn't seem to be any special events. Go buy some food to reward yourself. The Bloodkill guards stood guard in all directions. They isolated Di Shurtion, the demon race ministers behind him, and the other people. However, they could not block off the gazes. Countless fanatical eyes fell on Di Shurtion, filled with endless expectation and respect. Vaguely, there was a trace of pure wish power being transmitted to him. As soon as it reached him, it was immediately absorbed by the Emperor's robe. After refining it, the 5 divine beasts on it could not help but appear even more mysterious. Patter, who took a step forward, his face glowing. He looked at Di Shurtion, and after seeing him nod, he immediately opened his mouth and said, "The auspicious time has arrived. Your Majesty, please go up the stage to worship your ancestors and the heroic spirits of the demon race ancestors. Uphold the will of the martyrs and establish the demon court. Your Majesty, please go up the stage to worship your ancestors and establish the demon court." Suddenly, in the demon city, tens of millions of soldiers knelt on one knee at the same time and let out a torrent of loud cheers. One by one, they looked at Tion with burning eyes. "Your Majesty, please go up the stage to worship your ancestors and establish the demon court." In the demon city, there was an indescribable solemn atmosphere, and an invisible aura pervaded. After the invitations from the various demon race armies, almost all the demon race in the ancient city could not help but shout together. The anticipation in their voices could be clearly felt. This was a petition from nearly 10 billion demon race citizens. The Demon Emperor has such high prestige. When this scene fell into the eyes of the 100 races in the heavens, their expressions changed slightly. They felt the unity of the entire demon race. It was as if a sleeping beast was slowly awakening. "Your Majesty, please go up the stage to worship your ancestors." Chunshi, Su Tianxiang, and Katomi looked at each other and bowed respectfully at the same time, inviting him again. Tion didn't try to be pretentious. Looking around, he flicked his sleeve and walked toward the demon sealing dais. In ancient times, there was etiquette. When it came to ascending the throne, 3 invitations were the best. Pata. The surroundings were completely silent. Only the sound of Tian's steady and powerful footsteps slowly reverberated in the air. He walked step by step towards the top of the dais of Demon Sealing Realm. Step by step, the sound of every step connected together had an indescribable rhythm to it. It was as if he was stepping on everyone's hearts. At this moment, all eyes were on him. The 99 steps on the Demon Sealing dais were not long. In an instant, he had already reached the platform at the top. On top of the platform, there was a towering obelisk. This obelisk was used to hang the Demon Sealing Proclamation. Whoosh! Tion extended his hand forward, and a ray of light flashed in his hand. Silently, a scroll that looked like a picture scroll appeared. Once this scroll appeared, instantly, countless pairs of eyes focused on the scroll. In some of their gazes, there was almost a kind of naked possessiveness. It was as hot as fire, and they couldn't wait to swallow the scroll in one gulp. The Demon Summoning Banner. This must be the legendary Demon Summoning Banner. In ancient times, it was a treasure of the Demon Clan. It was said that even if a Demon Clan member died, their true spirit would not be destroyed. With the protection of the Demon Summoning Banner, they would have the chance to rebuild their demon body and be reborn. It's an incredible treasure. This Demon Summoning Banner was really in the hands of the Demon King. It was said that the human clan had spent countless efforts to secretly search for the Demon Summoning Banner. Who would have thought that in the end, they still didn't succeed and the Demon King obtained it? Ascending the dais to worship the ancestors. Could it be that the worship of the ancestors is to invite out the true spirits of the ancient demon clan in the Demon Summoning Banner? To gain the recognition of the ancient demon clan? If they don't admit it, if they don't acknowledge it, what will happen? The legendary Demon Summoning Banner seems to be a long banner. How could it be the scroll in front of us? Could it be that this isn't a Demon Summoning Banner, and the Demon King added the news of the Demon Summoning Banner, making something out of nothing? For a moment, low voices of discussion spread out in all directions. This item is the Demon Sealing Banner that I refined using the Demon Summoning Banner. The Demon Sealing Banner contains the true spirits of the hundreds of millions of Demon Clan ancestors who died in the ancient war. Today, I will invite out the true spirits of these ancestors to witness the glorious moment of the Demon Clan. Tion raised the Demon Sealing list and waved his hand towards the long monolith. The scroll flew into the air and quickly broke through the air towards the monolith. And at the moment of flying, the scroll unfolded inch by inch. The moment it fully unfurled, The demon sealing banner hung directly on the monument. Whoosh! On the demon sealing banner, a layer of dense purple chi pervaded the surface of the demon sealing banner. The specks of true spirits were like stars, constantly flashing with bright light. They constantly circulated on the demon sealing banner, as if the stars were revolving. This is the demon sealing banner. Those specks of light that are like stars, could they be the legendary true spirits? Yes, I can indeed feel the aura of true spirits on it. That's the most original imprint. This demon sealing banner really was refined using the demon summoning banner. True spirits are like stars. My goodness, there are probably hundreds of millions of true spirits inside. These are all the elites of the demon clan from ancient times. If they can really be reborn, then wouldn't the demon clan directly obtain a group of experts, causing the overall strength of the demon clan to soar tremendously? Look, see how the demon emperor is going to summon the true spirits inside, the ancient heroic spirits. Let's see if these ancient heroic spirits can really accept a junior calling himself emperor after they appear. If they don't, then the demon emperor will probably be disgraced today. If his name is not legitimate and his words are not legitimate, then he probably won't even have the face to call himself demon emperor. The mysterious and hidden aura emitted by the demon sealing banner immediately confirmed in the hearts of countless cultivators that this could indeed be the legendary demon summoning banner. However, what the various races feared the most was the true spirits contained within. If these true spirits were reborn with their original cultivation level, it would be a simple matter for them to recover their cultivation. This was an opportunity to strengthen the demon clan, but to the various races in the heavens, and even the human race, it was an extremely dreadful matter. Some of the cultivators were already paying attention to the situation with malicious intentions. However, almost all of the demon clan looked at the demon sealing banner with a burning gaze. There were ancestors and martyrs who had sacrificed themselves in the battle against the demon god in ancient times. The sacrifice of these ancestors in exchange for the peace of the entire world. They had reason to respect, reason to worship, and reason to feel proud. Brothers of the demon clan, I am the demon emperor Di-Shir-Tian. Di-Shir-Tian stood ramrod straight in front of the demon sealing banner. His body naturally emitted an unparalleled imperial might that could control the heavens and the earth. He calmly looked at the demon sealing banner without bowing. With his status, he had personally fought against the demon god in ancient times. His status was not inferior to any of the demon gods. He had proven his Tao through strength, and his battle prowess was comparable to that of the demon gods. In another sense, his seniority was comparable to that of the demon clan in ancient times. Moreover, he was the one who had obtained this demon flag in ancient times. He had used it to save the hundreds of millions of true spirits that were originally about to dissipate. It could be said that to the hundreds of millions of true spirits on the demon sealing banner, he was their savior. If Di-Shir-Tian paid his respects, not to mention whether he would do it or not, just whether the true spirits inside would be able to withstand it was a problem. With his cultivation, if he paid his respects, most of the true spirits inside would probably not be able to withstand it. Their true spirits would be forcefully dispersed. This was the same logic that if a father knelt to his son, he would be struck by lightning. It wasn't that Di-Shir-Tian didn't want to pay his respects, but that if an emperor knelt to a commoner, the commoner would be scared to death on the spot. If he hadn't dreamt of ancient times, Di-Shir-Tian would pay his respects. But since he had, he couldn't pay his respects. His voice was sonorous and forceful, almost covering the entire ancient city. It immediately drew everyone's attention back, and the true spirits on the demon sealing banner seemed to be able to hear Di-Shir-Tian's words. The true spirits that were originally constantly moving suddenly all stopped, as if they were somewhat stunned, as if they hadn't expected such a scene to occur. Since ancient times, the demon clan has fought bloody battles with the demon god. Countless demon clan soldiers sacrificed their lives for justice, fighting for the origin of heaven and earth. Their blood dyed the blue sky red. However, the demon clan fought with all its might, but what we received in return was the shameful betrayal of the soldiers behind us. In the end, the demon clan declined and suffered endless humiliation. Every time we were killed for our cause, our bones were scraped to refine treasures. Our situation was so terrible that it was unbearable to look at. How unfair is the heavenly Tao to the demon clan? Because of this, the demon clan can only strengthen ourselves. Every word was like a pearl, knocking on the minds of every cultivator in the ancient city. This was especially true for the countless demon clan members, who were incomparably deeply affected. As Di Shurtian spoke, their emotions constantly fluctuated. They empathized with him. I, Di Shurtian, rose from insignificance and forged the supreme divine artifact, the Thousand Demon City. I established the supreme foundation of the demon clan, passed down the Holy Land, gathered billions of demons, and regained the dignity of the demon clan. However, a plate of loose sand will eventually be defeated one by one. For this reason, I once again want to establish the demon court of the demon clan, coordinate together, and establish glory. This time, I'm here to inform the ancient heroic spirits. Do you agree or disagree with the establishment of the demon court? Di Shurtian's words were already filled with dignity. With that said, he raised his right hand and casually waved at the demon sealing banner. Whoosh! Suddenly, endless power seemed to surge out from the demon sealing banner and infused into the hundreds of millions of true spirits on the demon sealing banner. The entire demon sealing banner was suffused with a dense purple aura. With a soft sound, the true spirits condensed and broke out of the demon sealing banner, appearing in the sky above the demon sealing platform. Rolling demonic aura gathered like a tide. Demonic flames surged into the sky. The true spirits of the ancient demon clan condensed and appeared faintly in the demonic aura, layer upon layer. There were hundreds of millions of them. As soon as they appeared, the tragic, murderous aura that they exuded after experiencing a monstrous battle with the fiend celestial spread throughout the entire Thousand Demon City like a tide. Everywhere they went, all the cultivators suddenly felt as if there were mountains on their bodies, with endless pressure. An irresistible thought involuntarily appeared in their hearts. The ferocious aura that belonged to the ancient demon clan was released without reservation. The ancient heroic spirits' appearances were blurry, but their bodies simultaneously revealed traces of uncontrollable anger. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1004. How dare the human race bully the demon race? Back then, if the human race didn't claim to be a branch of the demon race and receive the protection of the demon race, how could they have survived in ancient times? Ingrate. The human race is really ruthless. They actually want to exterminate the entire demon race. The various races in the heavens are so cold-blooded. If the demon race didn't fight to the death, how could there be peace in the origin world? Countless demon race brothers sacrificed their lives in exchange for this kind of treatment, killing demons for their cores. How could you do it? We swear to never coexist with the human race. Millions of ancient demon race heroic spirits roared out from the demon sealing roll and gathered in the sky above the demon sealing arena. Their bodies overflowed with intense anger, and an inexplicable grief and indignation surged in their chests. They died resisting the enemy, but their race didn't die in the hands of demon gods, but by a knife that came from behind. That feeling made them feel like their lungs were about to explode. That monstrous rage transformed into waves of majestic pressure that spread out in all directions like a tide. Everywhere it went, a large number of cultivators felt as if they were in the middle of a tsunami. Their bodies trembled violently, as if they were about to fall to the ground at any time. The murderous aura that gathered from the ancient battlefield made all the cultivators feel as if they were being stared at by countless, terrifying, ferocious beasts. Their hearts were filled with fear. Don't worry, the human race will naturally have retribution. The seeds that were planted back then will bear the consequences in the future. Sooner or later, there will be a chance for revenge. Moreover, you will also have a chance. Your true spirits are protected by the demon sealing roll. I will send you to the blood altar and use the power of the blood altar to reconstruct your demon bodies. You will be reborn again. Shirtan looked at the ancient heroic spirits that were unreservedly emitting grief, anger, and killing intent. He nodded slightly and opened his mouth to speak. There was an unquestionable aura in his voice. We pay our respects to the Demon Emperor. Your Majesty has gathered our true spirits in the ancient times, preventing our true spirits from dispersing. Now, you're going to help us reconstruct our demon bodies. This is a favor that we will never forget. Hearing Shirtan's words, the ancient heroic spirits who were inexplicably indignant came back to their senses and looked at Shirtan. When they saw him, their bodies trembled violently, and they hurriedly looked away. Their eyes were filled with respect and gratitude. They recognized at a glance that the person standing in front of them was the Demon Emperor who had once been invincible among the hundreds of millions of demon gods on the heaven-tilting battlefield in ancient times. He had killed countless demon gods and even suppressed the unparalleled Demon Emperor. Her reverence for him came from the bottom of her heart, and there was nothing fake about it. His Majesty was able to save the demon race from danger, save countless demon race bloodlines, and gather billions of demon race members. To the demon race, this merit is greater than the sky and deeper than the sea. Your Majesty, if you want to establish the demon court, how can we have any objections? The demon court should be established. If we reconstruct our demon bodies, we are willing to be a small soldier under your Majesty. The demon court should be established. We are willing to be a small soldier under your Majesty. Hundreds of millions of ancient heroic spirits knelt down respectfully to Shirtan at the same time and let out thunderous cheers. For a moment, the entire ancient city was filled with cheers and shouts. It was deafening. Good. When Shirtan heard it, he nodded without any pretense and said, the demon race was born and nurtured by the heavens. Since ancient times, we have fought against the heavens and fought with our lives. No matter how many storms we have encountered, we have never fallen. Although the demon race has changed after our decline, we must have a Tao legacy that belongs to the demon race. Today, the demon court should be established. Every word seemed to carry an inexplicable heavenly might and was imprinted in the ears of every cultivator and demon race in the ancient city. It was directly transmitted to their souls. It was like an edict from the heavens that could not be disobeyed. Rumble. As Sakra's voice faded away, he no longer suppressed and retracted his strength. Instead, he completely released it. With this release, one could immediately see that his body was madly growing at an inconceivable speed. 3,000 meters, 2,000 meters, 3,000 meters. In the blink of an eye, his body had expanded to an astonishing 12,000 meters. Ding, ding, ding. Outside of his body, the 10 imperishable divine rings glowed with purple-gold divine light. Countless saint spirits were praying within the divine rings. On the black emperor robe on his body, the azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, black tortoise, and Shielan all whizzed out and surrounded Sakra. They gave off a tyrannical and awe-inspiring roar. The dragons soared and the tigers leaped, setting off the boundless emperor atmosphere. As soon as he revealed his true demon body, the cultivators were almost scared half to death. Mother of God, 10,000, 12,000 meters. My goodness, his demon body has reached such an inconceivable level. It's said that any true body, although the more refined it is, the larger the true body will become. However, the limit of what heaven and earth can accommodate is 12,000 meters. That's already touching upon the natural laws of heaven and earth. Just how strong would the demonic emperor's demonic body be when it reaches 12,000 feet? Using strength to prove his Tao. Could it be that the demon emperor has already proven his Tao through strength and raised his demon body to the level of a peerless expert? What a terrifying pressure. Before my spiritual will could even touch his body, it was directly shattered into pieces. Monster, what a monster. Using strength to prove one's Tao is 10 times, no, 100 times more difficult than ordinary breakthroughs. So he's already one step ahead of us and reached such a level. Is he revealing it now to establish his power or to do something else? The pressure that naturally flowed from Shurtian's body was as heavy as a mountain. It weighed down on all the cultivators in the ancient city, making it difficult for them to breathe. He was truly powerful to the extreme. However, the stronger he was, the more fervent the demon race became. What they needed was a strong leader. For a moment, Shurtian's vast demon body soared into the sky. Around him, ancient heroic spirits gathered and countless demon race bowed. Shurtian's expression was solemn. The pressure on his body spread out without reservation outside the demon city. For a moment, it covered countless areas like a tide. On the spot, countless cultivators on the purple gold continent prostrated on the ground. Countless birds and beasts bowed respectfully. The heavenly Tao is unfair. Rewards and punishments are unclear. The demon race should be strong. Today, I, Shurtian, will establish the demon court with the supreme divine artifact as the foundation. From today onwards, the demon city will be renamed the demon court. In all the realms, as long as you are a member of the demon race, you can enter the demon court. All the demon bloodlines that were separated in ancient times, as long as you are willing to admit your demon bloodline, you can return. The demon court is established. Every word was like a chaos fiend god that was born from chaos. It was as if countless thunderbolts were roaring, filling the entire world with this voice. It reached the ears of countless living beings and even their souls. Rumble. The demon city. No, it should be called the demon court now. The entire ancient city suddenly shook and burst out with countless divine lights. It suddenly soared into the sky and appeared above the purple gold continent. The ancient city expanded violently and was completely released. The vast and boundless city covered the sky like a bright sun. At this moment, the living beings on the purple gold continent and even in all the realms were filled with endless fear. The demon race. The demon race has actually established the demon court. With the supreme divine artifact as the foundation, the demon race is really going to rise. No one can bully them anymore. With the establishment of the demon court, the demon race is really going to soar. I wonder what kind of changes the establishment of the demon court will bring to this world. What a terrifying pressure. Shurtian, is this the true cultivation of a demon emperor? I can't even breathe under the pressure. It's simply too terrifying. It's comparable to the Tao ancestors and Buddha ancestors of the human race. Shurtian's words swept through the entire world like a storm. Outside the demon court, beautiful heavenly music resounded. An exotic fragrance assailed the nostrils. Countless seemingly real fairies walked out of the illusion and danced around the demon court. Vaguely, between heaven and earth, countless amounts of providence gathered toward the demon court like a tide. Above the Lingxiao Palace and the Jade Pool, balls of rich imperial purple qi violently rolled, but did not leave the range of the Lingxiao Palace and the Jade Pool. They only stacked up time and time again, as if there were layers of illusory heaven and earth. It formed the 33 heavens. According to legend, in the ancient heaven realm, there were 33 heavens. There were gods living in them, and it was the most honorable place. The vast imperial purple qi actually condensed into the illusory image of the 33 heavens, revealing an endless aura of nobility. Vast amounts of providence continuously poured into the demon ceiling leaderboard. In the demon ceiling leaderboard, countless mysterious dense purple clouds appeared and constantly circled and reverberated in the leaderboard. They enveloped the entire leaderboard and were faintly discernible inside, appearing very mysterious. The providence of the demon race has gathered and condensed into the demon ceiling leaderboard. Now that you are true spirits, you can fuse your true spirits into the leaderboard and be nourished by the demon sealing leaderboard. I must fulfill my words. Now, split half of your true spirits. D. Shurtian's eyes instantly swept across the billions of ancient heroic spirits. Thank you, your majesty. All the ancient heroic spirits were overjoyed. Who would want to rebuild their bodies and be resurrected? However, they only had true spirits. Without the help of others, it was impossible for them to do so unless they entered the cycle of reincarnation and were reborn. The billions of heroic spirits all split a portion of their true spirits from the demon sealing leaderboard. Blood altar, heroic spirits return. D. Shurtian pointed at the towering blood altar in the city. Suddenly, a blood pillar shot out from the blood altar. Countless sacrificial runes constantly danced around the altar and condensed into eerie soul-summoning banners. They emitted a strange power. In an instant, they appeared above the billions of heroic spirits. Under the mighty power of the soul-summoning banners, all the heroic spirits quickly threw themselves into the blood altar. Billions of heroic spirits entered the blood altar in a single file. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared from the ancient city. At the same time, in the land of exile, in Sky Pillar City, the huge blood altar also emitted countless divine lights. Under the altar, there was a monstrous sea of blood. Every moment, there were demons sending large amounts of ferocious beasts' flesh and blood into the sea of blood, turning it into blood water. The blood altar shook. In the blood light, strange birds and beasts were constantly condensed. In an instant, they all transformed into human forms. The demon emperor is indeed boundless. I am indeed alive again. This is a demon body. This is real flesh and blood. Although my cultivation is still weak with the realm I had back then, it is easy to cultivate back. The demon emperor's grace of rebirth is greater than the heavens. One by one, the ancient demon elites reformed their demon bodies in the blood altar. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1005. My brothers have been very helpful for the past 2 days. Although my birthday was very dull, I wasn't lonely with all of you around. Thank you, Kuer136, for the tip. Congratulations on becoming the second sect master. The demon court and the land of exile each had a blood altar that was connected to each other. The souls returned. The blood altar itself was an unimaginable supreme treasure, which contained endless magical powers. Once the soul and true spirit entered the altar, as long as there was enough flesh power, the true spirit could be reborn and a new body could be built. This was a true rebirth. As soon as the ancient true spirits entered, they were immediately formed into demon bodies by the blood altar. However, as they formed their demon bodies, the sea of blood around the blood altar was constantly decreasing. The flesh and blood energy inside was rapidly being depleted. Fortunately, countless demons in the city knew and sent large amounts of ferocious beast flesh and blood to the altar every day. The accumulated flesh and blood energy had reached an incredible level. Otherwise, creating hundreds of millions of demonic bodies at once would most likely exhaust all of the flesh and blood energy that he had accumulated. The eyes of the many ancient demon warriors flashed with joy for life, as well as deep gratitude. We have been reborn as soldiers under the demon emperor. We have been reborn as soldiers under the demon emperor. Almost every ancient demon who had formed their demon bodies said without hesitation. Their voices were filled with undeniable determination and certainty. This was their oath. The blood altar? The demon emperor actually sent those ancient true spirits into the altar to help them reconstruct their demon bodies. This was simply a huge matter. Once they are reborn, the demon race will have endless resources. If the demon court was established without these ancient true spirits, it would have taken a lot of time even if it had accumulated enough resources. However, this is equivalent to directly making up for the accumulation of resources. This will make the demon court a powerful force that cannot be ignored. In the demon court of Lingxiao, countless cultivators from various clans fell into deep thought. If the demon clan really obtained the hundreds of millions of ancient demon clan elites, what kind of earth-shattering change would it bring to the demon clan strength? Although the hundreds of millions of ancient demon clan elites were not even 1,000th of the ancient demon clan's overall strength, it was still a terrifying force that could not be ignored. At the very least, they had the ability to contend with any of the 100 races in the universe. The demon race is indeed a powerful race that once dominated the world in ancient times. Even though they lost all their elites in the ancient war, they still left behind such a hidden trump card. Indeed, until the very end, no one knows what kind of hidden trump card they have, let alone an overlord like the demon race. All of them were inwardly awed. No one would have thought that the demon race would still have such a trump card after suffering the betrayal of the human race. This was a trump card for a desperate counterattack. At this moment, he recalled that in ancient times, the demon clan was the overlord of the world. He couldn't help but wonder how many trump cards the demon race had left for their descendants. The demon court has been established. Your Majesty, please take the throne. Your Majesty shall be the demon emperor. At this moment, whose face was flushed red, and even his beard was sticking up. This moment was a grand occasion for the demon race. It was an indestructible event that would be recorded in the history of the demon race. It was a milestone in history and a turning point in the fate of the demon race. As a witness, the blood in his body was boiling violently. Your Majesty, please ascend the throne. Whoosh! In the demon court, almost all the demon race knelt down without hesitation. They looked at the majestic figure with fanatical eyes and let out earth-shattering cheers. There was a look of anticipation in their eyes. The demon court had been established. Naturally, there should be a demon emperor. Now, the candidate for the demon emperor almost fell on Di Shurtian without a doubt. No one would have any objections to this choice. They chose an emperor who had made countless contributions to the demon race. The air began to freeze at this moment. All eyes were focused on Di Shurtian. It was as if even breathing had begun to stop. Just one sentence, and it would be greeted with endless cheers. The demon emperor of the demon race was a title that had never been given since ancient times. There could be many demon emperors, but there was only one demon emperor. Di Shurtian looked up at the void and then at the 10 billion demon race in the demon court. There was a surge of hot blood in his heart, as if his blood was constantly boiling. Demon Emperor? Naturally, he would not give it to anyone. No matter when, if it was his, he must take it. If it was not his, he would not take it. Sometimes, it was important to take responsibility. Di Shurtian opened his mouth and was about to agree. However, at this moment, an unexpected turn of events began to take place. Wait! An abrupt voice suddenly echoed in the sky above the ancient city and fell into the ears of every cultivator. At this moment, the voice was like thunder in winter, shocking countless cultivators. Who is it? Who dares to interrupt the demon emperor when he is about to ascend to the throne? There's a saying that blocking one's path to wealth is like killing one's parents. Killing one's parents is absolutely irreconcilable. Interrupting the demon emperor's ascension to the throne is absolutely irreconcilable. Who dares to do this? At this moment, almost no one dared to interrupt. This was the moment when the demon emperor was about to ascend to the throne. If it was interrupted, it would truly be a fight to the death. They would really be beaten to death. Even crushing their bones and scattering their ashes would not be enough to vent their anger. Oh my God, he's really bold. If looks could kill, the gazes of the billions of demons in the Lingxiao demon court would have torn the one who tried to stop him into pieces. The all-heavens cultivators were secretly astonished. They could not help but be secretly curious about the person who had interrupted the demon emperor's ascension. They all looked in the direction of the voice. In midair, a figure stood in the air. This figure exuded faint traces of demon chi. The aura exuding from his body was unusually strange, as if heaven and earth could not restrain him and he could ride the wind. It was a middle-aged man, but his features were very handsome. His blood-red hair fluttered behind his head. On his back was a slender, strange sword. He wore a long red robe, and there seemed to be a ball of fire dancing between his brows. As he stood in the air, he naturally exuded an intimidating aura. The corners of his mouth were pulled into a faint trace of evil. He exuded a unique aura. Even the billions of gazes that seemed to want to devour him did not affect him in the slightest. His eyes were still fixed on Di Shirtion. A kind of pressure that seemed to come from the great Tao was faintly fluctuating. "You were the one who stopped I just now." A chilling light shot out from Di Shirtion's eyes. It contained a supreme will that directly pressed down on the other party. He said calmly, "You have demon chi on your body. You are also an expert of the demon race. Who are you?" That will was enough to crush the void to pieces. But when it landed on the other party, it was like a stone sinking into the sea. It did not even cause a ripple. "I am the red blood demon," the red-haired man said with a faint smile as he looked at Di Shirtion. "You stopped me from ascending to the throne." Di Shirtion looked at him calmly. He asked calmly, "That's right." The red blood demon nodded without hesitation and said meaningfully, "I admit that what you have done in the past makes you qualified to be an emperor and become the demon emperor of the demon race. However, no matter how many merits you have, they are all in the past. If you become an emperor, what benefits can you bring to the demon race? Can you lead the demon race to rise quickly? Can you bring the demon race back to the glory of the ancient times?" The red blood demon was also shrewd. As he spoke, he directly threw all of Di Shirtion's previous merits aside and used the past tense. He even seized the opportunity to ask questions one after another. It could be said that he played to his strengths and avoided his weaknesses. He was very cunning. "Oh." Indra looked meaningfully at the red blood demon, venerable, who had suddenly appeared, as if he didn't care about his question at all. He said indifferently, "Then you mean, if you become the demon emperor, you can bring about the rise of the demon race and restore the glory of the ancient times?" The corner of his mouth revealed an inexplicable smile. That smile seemed to be very gentle. "Damn it, he deserves to be killed. I should extract his divine soul and let him suffer endless torture in the nether prison for hundreds of millions of years. Where did this red blood demon come from? I have never heard of such an expert in the ancient times. However, no matter who he is, he dares to provoke you at this time. You must beat him to death 100 times. This kind of person who dares to jump out and challenge your authority should be directly trampled to death. He is too hateful." Ming's eyes were red, and he almost went crazy in the nether prison. Originally, he was still watching Di Shirtion become the emperor, but at this time, someone came to stir up trouble. He almost wanted to strangle him alive. Of course, when the red blood demon heard this, not only did he not feel embarrassed, he said with certainty, "If I become the emperor, I naturally have the confidence to lead the demon race back to glory. I know the countless secret realms and the locations of treasures in the various worlds. Every treasure trove could bring endless wealth. I also know that there is a supreme divine artifact hidden in the chaos, the city of chaos. As long as I become the emperor, I naturally have the confidence to lead the demon race back to glory. In my opinion, the position of the demon emperor should be given to a worthy person who can bring greater benefits to the demon race." As he said this, he looked as if he was unwilling to pass on this responsibility and did not hide his attitude of wanting to compete with Di Shirtion for the demon emperor position. He knows the countless secret realms and the locations of treasures in the various worlds. The supreme divine artifact, the city of chaos? How come I've never heard of such a divine artifact? It was a good show to watch. There really is someone who is not afraid of death jumping out to compete with the demon emperor for the throne. This red blood demon dares to appear. Could there be some hidden conspiracy behind it? He must know that now all the demon race is loyal to Di Shirtion. Even if the demon god appears, this belief will not be shaken. So what is he trying to do by jumping out? The souls of the cultivators in the various heavens began to burn fiercely. They watched the development of the matter unblinkingly, afraid to miss any moment. Demon Emperor, what can you bring to the demon race? The red blood demon asked the Shurtion playfully. I can only give you this. Shurtion looked at him indifferently, stretched out his right hand, and with a flash of light, a supreme treasure appeared in his palm. Chapter 1006. My brothers have been very helpful for the past 2 days. Although my birthday was very dull, I wasn't lonely with all of you around. Thank you, Ku'er 136, for the tip. Congratulations on becoming the second sect master. The demon court and the land of exile each had a blood altar that was connected to each other. The souls returned. The blood altar itself was an unimaginable supreme treasure, which contained endless magical powers. Once the soul and true spirit entered the altar, as long as there was enough flesh power, the true spirit could be reborn and a new body could be built. This was a true rebirth. As soon as the ancient true spirits entered, they were immediately formed into demon bodies by the blood altar. However, as they formed their demon bodies, the sea of blood around the blood altar was constantly decreasing. The flesh and blood energy inside was rapidly being depleted. Fortunately, countless demons in the city knew and sent large amounts of ferocious beast flesh and blood to the altar every day. The accumulated flesh and blood energy had reached an incredible level. Otherwise, creating hundreds of millions of demonic bodies at once would most likely exhaust all of the flesh and blood energy that he had accumulated. The eyes of the many ancient demon warriors he flashed with joy for life, as well as deep gratitude. We have been reborn as soldiers under the Demon Emperor. We have been reborn as soldiers under the Demon Emperor. Almost every ancient demon who had formed their demon bodies said without hesitation. Their voices were filled with undeniable determination and certainty. This was their oath. The blood altar? The Demon Emperor actually sent those ancient true spirits into the altar to help them reconstruct their demon bodies. This was simply a huge matter. Once they are reborn, the demon race will have endless resources. If the demon court was established without these ancient true spirits, it would have taken a lot of time even if it had accumulated enough resources. However, this is equivalent to directly making up for the accumulation of resources. This will make the demon court a powerful force that cannot be ignored. In the demon court of Lingxiao, countless cultivators from various clans fell into deep thought. If the demon clan really obtained the hundreds of millions of ancient demon clan elites, what kind of earth-shattering change would it bring to the demon clan strength? Although the hundreds of millions of ancient demon clan elites were not even 1,000th of the ancient demon clan's overall strength, it was still a terrifying force that could not be ignored. At the very least, they had the ability to contend with any of the hundreds of races in the universe. The demon race is indeed a powerful race that once dominated the world in ancient times. Even though they lost all their elites in the ancient war, they still left behind such a hidden trump card. As expected, until the end, no one knows what kind of trump card is hidden, let alone an overlord like the demon race. All of them were inwardly awed. No one would have thought that the demon race would still have such a trump card after being betrayed by the human race. This was a trump card for a desperate counterattack. At this moment, he recalled that in ancient times, the demon clan was the overlord of the world. They couldn't help but guess how many trump cards the monster race had left behind for their younger generation. The Fey Court has been established. Your Majesty, please be the Fey Emperor. Your Majesty is the Fey Emperor. At this moment, whose face was glowing, and even his beard was sticking up. This moment was a grand occasion for the demon race. It was an indestructible event that would be recorded in the history of the demon race. It was a historical milestone, a turning point in the fate of the demon race. As a witness, the blood in his body boiled violently. "Your Majesty, please ascend to the throne." Whoosh! In the demon court, almost all the demon race members knelt down without hesitation. They looked at the majestic figure with fanatical eyes and let out earth-shattering cheers. There was a look of anticipation in their eyes. The demon court had been established, so naturally, there should be a demon emperor. Now, the candidate for the demon emperor almost fell on D. Shurtion without a doubt. No one from the demon race would have any objections to this choice. They chose an emperor who had made countless contributions to the demon race. The air began to freeze at this moment. All eyes were focused on D. Shurtion. It was as if even breathing had begun to stop. Just one sentence would be greeted with endless cheers. The demon emperor of the demon race was a title that had never been given since ancient times. There could be many demon emperors, but there was only one demon emperor. D. Shurtion looked up at the void, then looked at the 10 billion demon race members in the demon court. There was a surge of hot blood in his heart, as if his blood was constantly boiling. Demon emperor? Naturally, he would not give it to anyone. No matter when, if it was his, he must take it. If it was not his, he would not take it. Sometimes, it was important to take responsibility. D. Shurtion opened his mouth and was about to agree. However, at this moment, an unexpected turn of events began to take place. "Wait!" An abrupt voice suddenly rang out, echoing clearly in the air above the ancient city. It fell into the ears of every cultivator. At this moment, that voice was like thunder in winter, shocking countless cultivators. Who is it? Who dares to interrupt the demon emperor when he is about to ascend to the throne? As the saying goes, blocking one's path to wealth is like killing one's parents. If one kills one's parents, they will not live under the same sky. Interrupting the demon emperor's ascension to the throne is absolutely irreconcilable. Who dares to do this? At this moment, almost no one dared to interrupt. This was the moment of ascension to the throne. If it was interrupted, it would truly be a fight to the death. They would really be beaten to death. Even crushing their bones and scattering their ashes would not be enough to vent their anger. My goodness, this person is really bold. If looks could kill, the gazes of the 10 billion demon race members in the demon court would be enough to tear that person to shreds. The all-heavens cultivators were secretly astonished. They could not help but be secretly curious about the person who had interrupted the ascension. They all looked in the direction of the voice. In mid-air, a figure stood in the air. This figure exuded faint traces of demon chi. The aura exuding from his body was unusually strange, as if heaven and earth could not restrain him and he could ride the wind. It was a middle-aged man, but his features were very handsome. His blood-red hair fluttered behind his head, and on his back was a slender, strange sword. He wore a long red robe, and there seemed to be a ball of fire dancing between his brows. As he stood in the void, he exuded a naturally intimidating aura, and the corners of his mouth pulled into a faint trace of evil. He exuded a unique aura. Even the billions of gazes that seemed to want to swallow him up did not affect him in the slightest. His eyes were fixed on D. Shurtion from beginning to end. A kind of pressure that seemed to originate from the great Tao was faintly fluctuating. "You were the one who stopped I just now." A terrifying cold light shot out from D. Shurtion's eyes, containing a supreme will that directly pressed down on the other party. He said calmly, "You have demon chi on your body. You are also an expert of the demon race. Who are you?" That will was enough to crush the void. But when it landed on the other party, it was like a stone sinking into the sea. It did not even cause a ripple. "I am the red blood demon," the red-haired man said with a faint smile as he looked at D. Shurtion. "You stopped me from ascending to the throne." D. Shurtion looked at him calmly. He asked calmly, "That's right." The red blood demon nodded without hesitation and said meaningfully, "I admit that what you have done in the past makes you qualified to be an emperor and become the demon emperor of the demon race. However, no matter how many merits you have, they are all in the past. If you become an emperor, what benefits can you bring to the demon race? Can you lead the demon race to rise rapidly? Can you bring the demon race back to the glory of the ancient times?" The red blood demon was quite shrewd. As he spoke, he directly threw all of D. Shurtian's previous merits aside and used the past tense. He even seized the opportunity to ask questions one after another. It could be said that he played to his strengths and avoided his weaknesses. He was very cunning. Oh, Indra looked meaningfully at Venerable Red Blood, who had suddenly appeared out of nowhere. As if he didn't care about Venerable Red Blood's questioning, he said indifferently, "So you mean, if you become the Demon Emperor, you can bring about the rise of the demon race and restore the glory of the ancient times?" The corner of his mouth revealed an inexplicable smile. That smile seemed to be very gentle. Damn it, he deserves to be killed. I should extract his divine soul and let him suffer endless torture in the nether prison for hundreds of millions of years. Where did this red blood demon come from? I have never heard of such an expert in the ancient times. However, no matter who he is, he dares to provoke you at this time. You must kill him 100 times. This kind of person who dares to jump out and challenge your authority should be directly trampled to death. He is too hateful. Ming's eyes were red, and he almost went crazy in the nether prison. Originally, he was still watching D. Shurtian become the emperor, but at this time, someone came to provoke him. He almost wanted to strangle him alive. Of course, when the red blood demon heard this, not only did he not feel embarrassed, he said with certainty, "If I become the emperor, I naturally have the confidence to lead the demon race back to glory. I know the countless secret realms and the locations of treasures in the various worlds. Every treasure trove could bring endless wealth. I also know that there is a supreme divine artifact hidden in the chaos, the city of chaos. As long as I become the emperor, I naturally have the confidence to lead the demon race back to glory. In my opinion, the position of the demon emperor should be given to a worthy person who can bring greater benefits to the demon race." As he spoke, he looked as if he was unwilling to pass on his responsibility, and he did not hide his attitude of wanting to compete with D. Shurtian for the demon emperor position. He knows the countless secret realms and the locations of treasures in the various worlds. The supreme divine artifact, the city of chaos? How come I've never heard of such a divine artifact? This is a good show to watch. There really is someone who is not afraid of death jumping out to compete with the demon emperor for the throne. This red blood demon dares to appear. Could there be some hidden conspiracy behind it? He must know that now all the demon race is loyal to D. Shurtian. Even if the demon god appears, this belief will not be shaken. So what does he try to do by jumping out? The souls of the cultivators in the various heavens began to burn fiercely. They watched the development of the matter unblinkingly, afraid to miss any moment. Demon Emperor, what can you bring to the demon race? The red blood demon asked D. Shurtian playfully. I can only give you this. D. Shurtian looked at him indifferently, stretched out his right hand, and with a flash of light, a treasure appeared in his palm. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1007. What's that? This red blood demon, who appeared out of nowhere, clearly wants to compete with the demon emperor in terms of resources. He even sinisterly wiped out the demon emperor's past achievements. He came prepared and has long been eyeing the shifter emperor's position. What kind of conspiracy is this red blood demon venerable hiding behind such a move? With the prestige of the demon emperor, even if he has great ability, I'm afraid that the position of the demon emperor will not fall into his hands, unless Socrateon gives up the position of the demon emperor himself. It's impossible for the demon emperor to give up such an important thing. He's courting death. He's courting death. That's not right. There must be some hidden conspiracy. Look, what's that in the demon emperor's hand? That looks like a ladder. However, there didn't seem to be any treasures in the world like this. Now that the demon emperor has taken it out, what exactly is going on? Could it really be a supreme treasure that has never appeared before? The curiosity in the hearts of the all heavens cultivators could no longer be suppressed. They whispered to each other and discussed spiritedly. When they saw the supreme treasure in Indra's hand, they couldn't help but open their mouths and eyes wide as they looked at the object in amazement. In Dishurtian's hand was a snow-white stairway to heaven. Step by step, the heavenly stairway ascended. It was snow-white without a single flaw. On the heavenly stairway, mysterious Tao runes were drawn. These Tao runes were like little tadpoles that swam around as if they were alive. They gathered together and formed all kinds of shapes. Sometimes it was a mountain, sometimes it was water. Sometimes it was birds and beasts, and sometimes it was the blue sky and white clouds. It was as if he could see endless sceneries from above. There seemed to be a boundless world inside. Yin and Yang, the 5 elements, the cycle of reincarnation, and life were all faintly discernible within. The stairway to heaven extended upwards, each step reaching the heavens. There were a total of 81 steps. A hidden aura spread out from the stairway. The aura from the stairway was not a natural spirit treasure, but it was a rare treasure that was not inferior to any supreme treasure. What is this? Almost every cultivator could not help but have the same question. The stairway to heaven seemed extraordinary, but it was not a natural spirit treasure. In terms of value, it was not comparable to the primal chaos city that the red blood demon had mentioned. However, it was still taken out with such caution, which made them feel puzzled. Why didn't I think of that? Lunatic D, you've been preparing for this all along. With this stairway to heaven, whatever bullshit primal chaos city will have to step aside. That's right. Even if it's a competition of supreme treasures, we'll trample on this bullshit red blood demon. Let him know that this is not a place for him to be arrogant. When Ming saw the item that Dishurtian took out, he was stunned for a moment. However, he immediately became excited and shouted excitedly. The ladder to the heavens, each step leading to the heavens, is passed down through the ages and will last forever. Imperial order. Dishurtian looked at the stairway to heaven, his expression as calm as ever. He seemed to be able to maintain his composure in the face of great events. With that, the stairway to heaven flew out of his hand and landed on the right side of the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches, where it landed on an empty field. In the process of descending, the entire stairway to heaven expanded at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, it had reached an unbelievable height. The 81 stairway to heaven extended to a height of 10,000 feet, piercing through the clouds. Every step of the stairway to heaven was extremely long and could accommodate tens of thousands of cultivators standing on it. Rumble. The stairs landed on the ground. The bottom of the stairs immediately fused with the divine crystals on the ground, as if it had taken root. It was closely connected to the entire Ling Shao demon court, becoming one with it. The Tao that can be Tao, the extraordinary Tao. The name that can be named, the extraordinary names. In the moment that the stairway to heaven completely merged with the demon court, the ultimate Emperor Jade archive in the depths of the ancient city suddenly shone with dazzling light, and countless mysterious characters flashed across its surface. Profound melodies of the great Tao floated out of the archive, explaining the mysteries of the great Tao. In the Jade archive, the 3,000 talismans of the Great Path vibrated in unison. Regardless of whether they were complete or incomplete, they all emitted their own light. Within the talismans, pages of mysterious cultivation methods flowed rapidly. They appeared in the heavenly melodies. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. The 3,000 talismans of the Great Tao vibrated, separating themselves from the ultimate Emperor Jade archive and flying out into the air. They followed the connection between the stairway to heaven and the demon court, branding themselves onto the stairway to heaven. There seemed to be a mysterious connection between the stairway to heaven and the ultimate Emperor Jade archive. A portion of the 3,000 types of connate vital energy extracted from the ultimate Emperor Jade archive was also separated and poured into the stairway to heaven. Layers of snow-white clouds suddenly emerged from the stairway to heaven outside, shrouding the entire stairway in a layer of clouds. It was faintly discernible, making it seem strangely mysterious. The aura it exuded was extremely subtle, as if it didn't exist at all, but also as if it were an amalgamation of the 3,000 great Taos of the world. For a moment, it seemed incomparably majestic. It naturally exuded a mysterious aura of the great Tao. Di Shurtian's actions attracted the attention of all the cultivators present. They looked at the stairway to heaven, then back at him, and the confusion in their eyes deepened. This is a supreme treasure that this emperor obtained by chance. After spending countless efforts, countless rare treasures, and the essence of heaven and earth, this emperor finally refined the stairway to heaven. Di Shurtian said in a deep voice, "The stairway to heaven is divided into 81 levels. There are 9 realms for the demon clan: spirit beast, spirit monster, demon beast, demon king, great demon, demon saint, sky demon, and demon god. Every 9 levels of the stairway to heaven is a realm for the demon clan. As long as you step onto the stairway to heaven, no matter what your background is, even if you're just an ordinary bird or beast, as long as you have the potential and perseverance, you'll be a spirit beast. Once you reach the 9th level, you'll be a spirit beast. Once you reach the 10th level, you'll be a spirit monster. You'll be able to obtain inheritances on the stairway to heaven. There are countless inheritances, and what you can inherit depends on your opportunity, potential, and luck. You might inherit a supreme cultivation technique, or you might get the most ordinary yellow cultivation technique. Whichever level you step on, the stairway to heaven will naturally inject the comprehension of the heavens and earth that should belong to that level into your mind. Every step you take will bring you a new scenery, and with every step you take, your cultivation will also rise by a level. If you can reach the 81st level, you'll become a supreme demon god." Each sentence was like a giant hammer directly hitting the heads of all the cultivators and demons in the demon court. The meaning behind those words was so shocking that even their hearts were about to jump out of their chests. Inheritance, this stairway to heaven, actually had such a miraculous power, and they could actually obtain such an incredible inheritance. If they could really walk on the stairway to heaven and earth, they would be able to obtain the same cultivation realm and even cultivation technique every time they reach the next level. That was simply a supreme treasure that could make countless races go crazy. This was an irreplaceable supreme treasure of inheritance. Countless demons were looking at the stairway to heaven with a fanatical light in their eyes. They couldn't wait to swallow it in one bite. "Your Majesty, Demon Emperor, Your Majesty is really wholeheartedly planning for our demon clan. You actually spent so much effort to refine such a supreme treasure. To us, you're simply giving us a new lease on life. If we can really inherit it, then the rise of our demon clan is just around the corner." With the stairway to heaven, we can obtain a large number of powerhouses in a day, an irreplaceable supreme treasure of inheritance. Countless demons were so excited that even when they spoke, there was a slight tremor in their voices. They deeply understood the boundless benefits and endless powerhouses that the stairway to heaven could bring to the demon clan. This stairway to heaven could save the demon clan a lot of time for cultivation. Impossible if the demon clan obtains such a supreme treasure of inheritance. Wouldn't their strength increase by leaps and bounds? It's immeasurable. Something big is going to happen. With the stairway to heaven, the demon clan will soar into the sky. Those little demons from before can transform into demon kings, great demons, and even demon saints. However, in the eyes of all the cultivators, endless waves of shock surged. It was a good thing for the demon clan, but for some people, it was definitely a terrible thing. All of them were looking at the stairway to heaven with complicated expressions. Just because you say so? Is this stairway to heaven really as miraculous as you say? The red blood demon said playfully with a doubtful expression. If you doubt it, just let a demon try it. Di Shurtian just looked at him calmly. There was no trace of emotion in his eyes, as if he was looking at a corpse. "Your Majesty, Old Pig's family just gave birth to a son, and now he only has the cultivation of a spirit beast. Old Pig believes in Your Majesty and is willing to let my son try the stairway to heaven." A fat man with a big head and big ears ran out, holding a red piglet in his hands. Because of its parents, the piglet was already a spirit beast when it was born, and it seemed to be more of a fire element. His two eyes constantly scanned the surroundings. The fat man looked at D. Shirtion with excitement and fanaticism. "Approved." D. Shirtion glanced at it and nodded in agreement. "Oomph." The red piglet let out a snort and jumped down from the fat man's hands. It came to the stairway to heaven and jumped up. Whoosh! As soon as he stepped onto the first step, he immediately saw a faint halo suddenly appear on the first step of the celestial stairway. Small, colorful runes of different colors emerged out of thin air from the celestial stairway. Among these runes, some of the crimson-red runes paused in midair for a moment before surging toward the little red boar. When they landed on its body, they immediately drilled into its pores. The surrounding chi of heaven and earth seemed to be attracted by something and continuously poured into its body. In the blink of an eye, the red piglet's power and cultivation increased at an alarming rate. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1008. Every rune contained extremely pure fire, elemental energy. Moreover, when the runes entered the little red pig's body, it seemed to have received some kind of inheritance. The fire elemental energy that entered its body automatically followed the path of the cultivation technique and quickly circulated in its body. It rushed through the meridians in its body. As for the little red pig, its eyes were lifeless, as if it had fallen into some kind of strange illusion. When the runes entered its body, its originally small body was constantly changing its physical body. Its body size was constantly growing at a speed visible to the naked eye. As long as one stepped on every step of the celestial stairway, they would automatically enter a kind of strange illusion. It was just like D. Shirtion in the Four Corners Divine Palace back then. They would undergo the test of the illusion and be tempered. Only in this way could one's cultivation level be raised and one's willpower be tempered. It was truly perfect, and it would lay down a solid foundation. It would allow one's cultivation level and cultivation level to be raised together. This was the most magical ability of the celestial stairway. One step, one scene. Once one was unable to pass the test of the illusion and withstand the tempering of the illusion, the celestial stairway would automatically send them off the celestial stairway. The inheritance would be terminated. It could be said to be foolproof. The little red pig paused for a while on the first step of the celestial stairway. When the surrounding red runes no longer entered its body, its originally collapsed eyes regained their clarity. Even its eyes were more lively and full of spirituality, as if it had suddenly opened its spiritual cavities and gained wisdom. It jumped up to the second step. On the second step, more runes appeared and entered its body. This time, the runes were even more complicated and mysterious. Faintly, there was a heavenly sound that slowly reverberated on the celestial stairway, one step after another. Not long after, it accepted the inheritance. In the blink of an eye, the little red pig had passed more than 10 steps of the celestial stairway and entered the 19th step. However, not long after it entered, it was directly sent down the celestial stairway, and the inheritance was terminated. However, its cultivation level had directly risen from a small spiritual beast to the realm of a demonic beast in the blink of an eye. This made the crowd's eyes almost pop out of their sockets. This was the process of witnessing the transformation of a newly born little spiritual beast into a demonic beast. If it had been in D. Shirtion, this process would have taken hundreds of years. In the demon city, it would have taken several years. But on the sky ladder, it only took less than a day. It was truly inconceivable and miraculous. As expected, it really is an inherited treasure. It was unbelievable that a spirit beast could transform into a demonic beast. Moreover, its foundation was abnormally stable. This ladder to the heavens can really reach the heavens. With this supreme treasure, the rise of the demon race will be even more unstoppable. All of them were silent as they stared at the stairs to the heavens. No one knew what they were thinking. Shifter Emperor, please ascend to the throne. Only His Majesty is qualified to be called the Demon Emperor. Other than His Majesty, even if a demon god were to come, we would not acknowledge him. Your Majesty, please ascend to the throne and proclaim yourself as the Demon Emperor. If that red blood demon wants to be the Fiend Emperor, we will never admit it. Get out of here. Seeing the miraculous effect of the sky ladder, all of the demon race's eyes were filled with fanaticism. It was as if they were about to set the entire void on fire. They all shouted from the bottom of their hearts. Voices urging Tion to proclaim himself as the emperor echoed in the ancient city. Their voices almost resounded through the sky. Rumble. At this moment, a violent roar suddenly came from the heavenly prison of the demon court. A crimson shadow flew out from the heavenly prison like lightning. In an instant, it appeared beside the red blood demon and entered his body. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared. Report. Your Majesty, a thief broke into the heavenly prison and killed all the prisoners in the heavenly prison. Not even their corpses were left. In an instant, a hurried shout rang out from a distance. A supervisor demon guard quickly flew over with a trace of anxiety on his face. You dare to break into the heavenly prison? Who are you? Ian's eyes shot out a threatening light. He directly glared at the red blood demon. Everywhere he looked, the void seemed to be crushed and distorted. It turned out that the red blood demon did not come here to compete for the Demon Emperor position. He came here to attract all the attention. In fact, he secretly sneaked into the heavenly prison to break into the heavenly prison. There's no one in the heavenly prison. Where are you keeping the blood demon emperor? The red blood demon's eyes turned blood red in the blink of an eye. His gaze was unusually sharp, and his expression became solemn. You want to save the blood demon emperor? You are not a member of the demon race. You should be killed. When Tion heard this, a surge of killing intent surged in his heart. He shouted, Demon Court, imprison the void. Heaven and earth great Tao, suppress. After knowing that the person in front of him was not a real demon race, he did not hesitate. Immediately, the entire demon court erupted with boundless power. The entire void seemed to be imprisoned and completely sealed, making it difficult to move. Boundless pressure came from all directions and crazily crushed the blood demon Venerable. Crash! In the void, chains of laws condensed out of thin air. They were like spiritual snakes. One after another, they whizzed towards the red blood demon to bind him. The power of the supreme divine weapon was completely mobilized. In the demon court, even a peerless expert would be suppressed. Anyone who went against the supreme divine weapon would have to contend against the power of the entire supreme divine weapon. Chaos demonic orb. When the blood demon Venerable saw the terrifying power crushing towards him from all directions, he seemed to have been prepared. He sneered, and a strange demonic orb appeared above his head. The demonic orb was filled with a strange chaotic will. As soon as the demonic orb appeared, it exploded. Waves of chaotic power spread in all directions. It completely enveloped him. Rumble. Wherever the chaotic willpower went, the frozen space suddenly became chaotic. The chains of laws that were surging towards the broken blood demon Venerate were all twisted into a mess. Even the laws that filled the space of the Ling Shao demon court were twisted into a mess. Not good. This is the chaos demonic orb. It is specially used to deal with supreme divine weapons. The 3,000 great Tao in the demon court is not complete. There are too many loopholes in the laws of heaven and earth. It will be affected by the chaotic will and become chaotic. It will not be able to imprison him. Ming was very knowledgeable. You are courting death. Tion ignored him. He quickly formed seals with his hands. Suddenly, endless power gathered in his hands. The ultimate Emperor Seal, Celestial Demon Seal, Tautai Seal, Emperor Seal, Blissful Seal, for ancient seals instantly formed in midair. Like real ancient seals, they were solid and did not look illusory at all. As soon as the 4 ancient seals appeared, they emitted a monstrous force that suppressed the void and directly smashed towards the red blood demon. Every ancient seal seemed to be able to crush an entire world into dust with a single seal. Under the 4 ancient seals, monstrous pressure crushed down. Blood Drinker Sword. Blood massacre of 1,000,000 soldiers. The red blood demon sneered. Unknowingly, his right hand was already holding the Blood Drinker Sword on his back. With a twist of his wrist, the Blood Drinker Sword was unsheathed. There was a long blood groove on the slender, blood-colored sword. On the sword, there seemed to be countless ferocious blood-colored beasts with ferocious eyes. As soon as the sword turned around, streaks of blood-red sword light appeared around him, forming layers upon layers of blood-red sword wheels. It was as if the crimson blood demon had turned into a horrifying hedgehog with countless streaks of sword light sticking out of its body in an instant. The cold light that shot out from the tip of the sword almost pierced the void. Ding, ding, ding. Streaks of sword light, like countless blood-colored dragons, revealed their ferocious faces and pierced the 4 ancient seals. With Shurtian's current strength, the ancient seal's power had reached an incredible level. The streaks of sword light were annihilated inch by the ancient seals. But the terrifying thing was that these streaks of sword light came one after another from different angles, but they struck the same spot on each ancient seal. Time after time, the one in front was crushed, and immediately thousands of streaks of sword light came charging in. It was like a terrifying torrent. It really had a terrifying will to slaughter millions of soldiers. Kacha. The edge of the Blood Drinker Sword was limitless, and each stroke was accompanied by a terrifying sword cry that thirsted for blood. Thousands of attacks simultaneously struck the same spot, and in the blink of an eye, one could clearly see that the 4 ancient seals had formed countless sinister and terrifying cracks in front of the torrent that the Blood Drinker Sword had drawn out. These cracks spread, and all of a sudden, the ancient seals were fragmented. Roar! The moment the 4 ancient seals collapsed, a streak of golden saber light suddenly broke through the air and appeared in front of him. In the saber light, there was a divine tiger roaring at the sky on the golden saber of the tiger soul. Clang, clang, clang. The tiger soul, with boundless dominance and an indomitable aura, slashed down. Wherever it passed, streaks of sword light were cut into 2 by the tiger soul. With boundless dominance, the tiger soul broke through the terrifying sword wheel that surrounded the red blood demon. Mere sword shadows could not block the sharpness of the tiger soul in the slightest. With a monstrous power, the saber turned, and with a sharp saber light, the countless sword shadows were crushed. At the same time, the tiger soul turned from a slash to a horizontal slash and slashed toward the demon Venerate's neck. Clang! However, the demon Venerate's combat skills were unbelievably exquisite. The Blood Drinker Sword instantly blocked the tiger soul in front of him. The saber body of the tiger soul was only a foot away from the demon Venerate's neck. A sword will that was as soft as water was emitted from the sword body, causing the domineering saber power contained in the tiger soul to dissipate in all directions. 4 ounces to 1,000 kilograms. The Blood Drinker Sword went with the flow and turned around without hesitation. Sticking close to the tiger soul, it slashed toward Shurtian's right hand that was holding the tiger soul. This strike was incomparably ferocious and wanted to cut off his entire hand. Roar! In the tiger's soul, the divine tiger let out a tiger roar. The sound waves of the tiger roar transformed into waves of vibrational force, causing the saber to vibrate violently. It vibrated hundreds of millions of times per second, and the surrounding void was shaken into fine powder. To be continued. If you like this work, you're welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 1009. Ding, 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 ding. The violent vibrations from the tiger's soul were abnormally rapid and intense. The blood drinker's sword, which was right next to the tiger's soul, bore the brunt of the vibrations. Wave after wave of vibrations crazily surged toward the blood drinker's sword, like a tidal wave. Each wave carried a powerful force. Hundreds of millions of waves of vibrations caused the void around the blood drinker's sword to distort to a terrifying degree. Under these vibrations, the blood drinker's sword was like soft water, allowing the void to distort. Even the sword body followed the void's distortions and turned into a soft hemp rope, distorting beyond recognition. At an incredible speed, it deflected waves of terrifying sound waves in all directions. The tip of the sword was like a spirit snake coming out of its hole, piercing toward Di Shurtian's wrist in an extremely tricky manner. The blade was thick and heavy, and its momentum was as domineering as a mountain. It had always been mainly used for slashing. The sword body was slender, and, compared to the blade, it was a little fragile. Although the sword had two edges, it was mainly used for stabbing. In almost all sword techniques, the stabbing move often contained a rather terrifying sharpness. It was extraordinarily swift and fierce, enough to pierce through heaven and earth. Clang! Di Shurtian saw this and did not evade. Rings of indestructible divine halos revolved around his arm. With a twist of his wrist, the tiger's soul turned, and the blade slashed diagonally toward the red blood demon's heart. In mid-air, it drew a beautiful arc of light, as if both sides were injured, an injury for an injury, a life for a life. This change of move was almost as fast as lightning, and there was no time to dodge at all. The situation instantly became extremely dangerous. The blood drinker sword stabbed toward Di Shurtian's wrist, but was immediately blocked by the divine halos. The sword burst forth with a dazzling sharpness, carrying an astonishing killing power, and directly pierced through the divine halos. They were shattered with a boom. The sword pierced through 7 divine halos. It was blocked just now. Puff! The tiger's soul carried the aura of an emperor, completely displaying the sharpness of the battle blade. It contained a monstrous power, and directly slashed down diagonally from the shoulder, cutting the red blood demon into 2. Crack! The dazzling saber light drew a shocking saber mark in the void. Hiss! What a terrifying combat strength. Using strength to prove one's Tao. This is the heaven-defying combat strength of using strength to prove one's Tao. Every movement, every move, every style, I feel that I have no ability to dodge at all. For an ancient giant like me, the Demon Emperor can really poke me to death with a single finger. This red blood demon is also a freak. He can actually fight with the Demon Emperor. From the looks of it, he should also be a demon god. His combat strength is terrifying, but he was actually split in half by the Demon Emperor. How could he not die? He jumped out to cause trouble when the Demon Emperor was about to ascend to the throne, blocking his path to wealth. It's no different from killing one's parents. He seemed to be trying to sneak into the prison to rescue the criminals inside. Could it be that he's here to rescue them? The All Heavens cultivators, as well as the countless demon race cultivators in the ancient city, were all suppressed by the majestic pressure radiating from the void, rendering them unable to move. The difference of a single step was like the difference between heaven and earth. In a battle between matchless experts, it was almost impossible for anyone who had not reached this level to interfere. TSK, TSK. The Demon Emperor is indeed the Demon Emperor. When the tiger soul split the red blood demon into 2, Di Shurtian did not look happy at all. Instead, a fierce look appeared in his eyes. The tiger's soul could devour flesh and blood. Even if it cut open a wound, it would devour a trace of blood essence. However, it did not absorb any blood essence from the red blood demon's body. The red blood demon was definitely not an ordinary person. Sure enough, a burst of sinister laughter came from the void. The two halves of the red blood demon's body instantly turned into two streaks of blood-red light. As if they had a will of their own, they quickly gathered in the void and collided, fusing into one. The blood-red light rippled, and a slender figure appeared in the void. He was dressed in blood-red robes, and his face was incomparably handsome. There was always a faint, sinister smile at the corner of his mouth. There was a blood-red vertical line between his eyebrows that looked like a closed vertical eye, adding to his demonic aura. His blood-red hair casually draped over his shoulders, and every strand of hair seemed to have souls groaning in pain. The blood-red hair fluttered in the wind like a blood-red river rippling. Countless souls in pain floated in the river, revealing sinister faces as if they were choosing a person to devour. Looking at it, one could not help but shudder. Shuaini. Tian's pupils contracted violently. He immediately recognized that the person in front of him was the legendary blood god Shuaini. He was already one of the top experts in the demon god continent. His divine eyes swept over him. Shuaini had already recovered to the level of an unparalleled demon emperor, but he had just recovered to the early stage. Good, good, good. Blood god Shuaini, there was a path for you to take in the heavenly realm, but you barged into the demon court without a door. Since you've come in, then stay here forever. I want to use your blood to witness I step onto the emperor's path. Tian's heart turned cold. No matter who he was, the fact that he tried to stop Tian meant that Shuaini's fate was sealed. He had no chance of leaving Ling Shao Demon Court alive. Not only did he have to kill, he had to do it cleanly. He had to show off his might by killing. He had to use his flesh and blood to achieve the supreme prestige of the Demon Emperor. Clang! Tiger, soul shook, and the crisp sound of the saber filled the entire demon court. The saber turned, and from top to bottom, the saber drew a mysterious trajectory in the void and slashed towards Shuaini. From the void, a pure power of desire surged into Tiger's soul like a tide. The power of desire brought with it a terrifying intent. Wherever it went, countless living beings would feel waves of desire in their minds. It felt as if countless terrifying things were about to happen. Desire grew. It swept through the world. It was unstoppable. The boundless power of fear and desire gathered crazily into the tiger's soul. In an instant, the space under the blade trembled violently. The tiger soul saber body had strangely disappeared at some point in time. Instead, a pitch-black door of the ancient realm appeared in the void. Inside the door of the ancient realm, countless terrifying scenes appeared. Scenes of countless living beings dying of old age, illness, murder, drowning, burning to death, etc. All sorts of scenes of death constantly flashed within the ancient realm. It made people feel as if they were there. Everyone who saw it, including the ancient powerhouses, felt a deep sense of fear. This was because not only did ancient powerhouses die in large numbers in the ancient door, but there were also peerless experts who died. There seemed to be a mountain of corpses piled up with white bones. At the foot of the mountain of corpses, one of the corpses had a face. It was him. Anyone who saw would feel a terrifying chill from the soles of their feet to their hearts. Even their hair would stand on end. There was an indescribable fear. That fear shrouded one's mind. On the ancient door, there were 3 ancient seals, door of life and death. There was great fear in between life and death. Extreme Monarch Emperor Dao, fear of life and death. This was what Tian experienced when he was tested by the 4 heavenly gates in the 4 Cardinal Divine Palace. He fell into a terrifying illusion that was close to despair. He wandered on the edge of life and death every moment, and deeply experienced the great fear that existed between life and death. It was a new battle skill that was created by combining the desire of fear among the 7 emotions and 6 desires. What battle skill is this? Shuaini's face revealed a touch of imperceptible fear. In the door of life and death, he had personally witnessed the process of his fall. The process could be said to be incomparably real. Even he felt that his will was shaking, and a trace of fear uncontrollably emerged in his mind. Rumble. The door of life and death, carrying the power of life and death, directly charged towards Shwe-Ini from the void. There was almost no place to hide from the ancient door. This door contained life and death. Between heaven and earth, there was either life or death. If you're alive, you can't hide from the ancient door. If you are dead, you can't resist the call of the ancient door. There is almost no place to hide, no way to avoid. Humph! In heaven and earth, no one can take the life of the blood god. Back in ancient times, you couldn't completely destroy me, and now it's even more impossible. How can mere life and death restrain me? Shwe-Ini's eyebrows flashed with a trace of unswerving determination. The blood drinker's sword drew countless mysterious trajectories in front of him. Blood drinker's sword, falling sword of the 9 heavens. The 9 blood swords were divided into 9 positions, condensing into a killing sword formation. They were connected to each other, cutting through the vacuum and strangling toward the door of life and death. Under the sword, even the stars could be cut down. The blood-colored sword light directly burst out tens of thousands of feet. In an instant, the door of life and death was covered by the sword light. Rumble. Under the blood sword, even the void was trembling violently. However, when the blood sword collided with the gate of life and death, it was as if the gate of ancient didn't exist at all. It wasn't damaged at all and directly passed through the blood sword. In an instant, it arrived in front of Shwe-Ini and strangely enveloped him. Countless terrifying illusions of life and death madly surged into his mind. And behind the door of life and death, a perfect arc of light flashed, and the tiger's soul, accompanied by the monstrous will of life and death, suddenly appeared on the ancient door and slashed towards Shwe-Ini like lightning. Not good. Lord Blood God is at a disadvantage. This can't go on. This time, we must not fail to rescue the Demon Emperor. The group of ancient, peerless experts of the origin world is most likely about to return. If we don't rescue them now, we won't have another chance in the future. There was a skinny little demon kneeling in the middle of the group of demons. His eyes glowed with a blood-red light. His eyes spun rapidly. Every time he spun, a plan flashed through his mind. His eyes suddenly looked at the demon empress Chun Shi, demon concubine by Hu, and Katomi, who were standing below the demon's sealing altar. A cold and ruthless flashed across his face, and the corners of his mouth pulled into a sinister smile. His body flashed without warning, and he fiercely pounced in the direction of Chun Shi. Chapter 10:10. It's a new week. Here's a ticket. The little demon leaped into the air from the group of demons and quickly pounced on Chun Shi. Along the way, his body underwent a shocking change in an instant. His body suddenly exploded into countless pieces and shot out in all directions. Under the cover of the demon's body, there was actually another figure hidden. 3 pairs of huge blood-colored bat wings whistled and covered a large area of the void. This was the blood-winged demon god clan of the demon god continent, a demon god clan that once belonged to the blood god. The 3 pairs of blood-colored bat wings on the blood-winged demon god clan's back flapped violently and immediately burst forth with astonishing speed, pouncing towards Chun Shi. His face was covered with blood-red, demonic tattoos. They were densely packed and intertwined together, making him look exceptionally ferocious. A pair of blood-red gloves appeared on his hands, and he put them on. His hands instantly transformed into a pair of blood-red claws that looked like blood jade. He waved the claws forward, and under the claws, terrifying cracks were torn in the void. A monstrous pressure was emitted from his body, and it will rolled out in all directions. This was actually a sky demon level expert. Oh no! Quickly protect the demon empress and the 2 demon concubines. This sky demon wants to assassinate the demon empress. Quick, protect the empress. The unforeseen event happened too suddenly. Almost all the cultivators, including the demons in the demon court, were focused on the battle between Di Shurtian and Shweini in the void. They did not increase their vigilance towards the outside world. They did not expect that there would be such a terrifying assassin hidden among the demons. For a moment, Mengshi and the others were stunned. They all shouted loudly and rushed towards the sky demon without thinking, wanting to stop him. However, this sky demon's speed was almost unimaginable, and it happened too suddenly. Moreover, Chunxi and the others had special identities. Although Mengshi, Shuiyin, and the others were secretly protecting them, they could not get too close. When this unforeseen event happened, there was no time for them to block in front of them. This gave the sky demon an opportunity to take advantage of. Chunxi put most of his attention on the fierce battle in the void. His reaction could not help but be a little slower. Seeing the heavenly demon pouncing toward him, he almost instantly guessed the heavenly demon's objective. This heavenly demon wants to kill me, but not to kill me. Instead, he wants to capture me and use me to threaten my husband. Putting aside the fact that he will let them go, he also wants to threaten my husband into releasing the demon emperor who is being suppressed. Chunxi was extremely intelligent. Although he had been sitting in the jade pool all this time and did not reveal himself, his intelligence was not inferior to any of the other wise men. Moreover, he was able to keep the jade pool in order. In the overall situation, he stood at a rather high point. One's bottom determined one's head. This was the principle. I must not let him succeed. A thought suddenly appeared in his mind. Your Highness, be careful. Others could not stop it in time, but Qing Xia, who had always been by Chunxi's side, reacted instantly. Without thinking, she pulled out the Cyan Yuan sword on her back. The Cyan Yuan sword turned into a huge cyan lotus and bombarded the sky demon. The Cyan Yuan sword spun and spat out countless cyan lotus sword chi, condensing into countless strange cyan lotus petals. They whistled through the void and swept towards the sky demon. A mere cyan Yuan. Do you think you can stop me? The sky demon's face revealed a ferocious expression. Looking at the cyan lotus in front of him, the wings on his back suddenly flapped forward. Instantly, countless waves of blood whizzed out from the wings, turning into millions of blood-colored bats. They swept towards the cyan lotus petals and tore them into countless pieces. Crack! A ferocious blood claw with a supreme will that could tear through the void slammed into the green lotus. Immediately, the monstrous power of the demon god gushed out from the blood claw. The sharp claw grabbed the green lotus, and with a soft sound, the entire green lotus was torn apart on the spot. It turned into countless pieces and completely collapsed in an instant. The sharp claw did not stop. With a momentum that could tear through the void, it grabbed towards Chun Shi's neck. Bang! Puff! However, just as the blood claw was about to touch Chun Shi, a cyan figure blocked the blood claw with lightning speed. The blood claw landed directly on the figure's back. With a crisp sound, the battle armor on the figure's body was torn open and a hole was pierced through. The terrifying power was all on the figure's body. The figure was sent flying forward on the spot. A mouthful of blood sprayed out in midair. You're courting death. The sky demon spat out a cold shout, and his gaze became even more fierce. Qing Xia. Chun Shi's expression changed as he called out. He reached out and hugged Qing Xia's body. Looking at her pale face, boundless anger burst out on his face. Since Qing Xia entered the jade pool, she had been responsible for its safety. She was loyal and devoted to him, and he had long regarded her as his closest relative. At this moment, seeing Qing Xia being seriously injured by the sky demon who had appeared out of nowhere, the anger in his heart erupted like a tidal wave. You deserve to die. Chun Shi's eyes, which had always been as calm as water, suddenly burst out with endless sharpness and an oppressive aura. She had been the demon empress for a long time, and her body naturally had an invisible majesty. When she released it at this moment, it was as if heaven and earth were angry. Traces of anger appeared on her face, and with a flash of light in her hand, a colorful flower basket appeared. This flower basket was filled with all kinds of strange flowers. The power and aura contained in each flower was completely different, and each flower had its own unique and miraculous ability. There were thousands of flowers in the flower basket, which was an extremely large number. Chun-Shi held the flower basket and reached out to take it. In the blink of an eye, a colorful flower appeared in his hand. The flower seemed to be constantly changing colors. It was illusory. An instant is eternity. Eternity is an instant of youth. Chun-Shi did not hesitate at all. He directly threw the colorful flower in his hand at the sky demon. The flower seemed real and illusory at the same time. It was very magical. What a joke. You want to hurt me with a flower? Demon Empress, you should obediently allow yourself to be captured. How fierce was the sky demon? After its first attack was blocked by Qing Xia's body, it immediately clawed at Chun-Shi again. This claw gave people the feeling that there was nowhere to hide and nowhere to run. The other claw directly grabbed at the colorful flower. However, when the sharp claws collided with the flower, a strange situation occurred. It was as if the flower didn't exist at all. It directly pierced through his bloody claws. It instantly imprinted itself on his chest. The colorful flower strangely drilled into his body like flowing water. Immediately, a seven-colored mist shrouded his entire demonic body. No, what's going on? Why did my strength suddenly increase so much? No, why do I feel like my life essence is rapidly depleting? My lifespan. Impossible. I've already become a heavenly demon. As long as I don't die, my lifespan will be limitless. How can there be a limit to my lifespan? 100,000 years of lifespan? Impossible. How can my lifespan be so short? Not good. Why is my lifespan depleting so quickly? This is 1,000 times, no, 10,000 times faster than normal. My power, my demonic body, what's going on here? What's going on here? Why is this happening? The sky demon's expression suddenly changed, and he let out a cry of disbelief. His expression was full of horror and fear, as if something inconceivable and terrible was happening to him. From outside, it could be seen clearly. The power and aura emitted by the sky demon rose to an unbelievable level in an instant, reaching a peak. It was as if he could step into the ranks of the unparalleled demon emperors in an instant. However, not only did he not feel happy about the increase in power, he only felt a strong sense of fear. After a moment, when he reached the peak, the power on his body immediately dissipated at an astonishing speed. At the same time, his appearance changed at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, he changed from a young man to a white-haired old man. Countless wrinkles appeared on his face. Life essence was constantly released from his body. It dissipated into the air. In the blink of an eye, he became abnormally old. Crash! In less than a few breaths, the sky demon died of old age. The immortal demon body on his body seemed to have gone through hundreds of millions of years and countless eras. His flesh, blood, and bones turned into powder and drifted into the surrounding void. In the blink of an eye, he had completely turned into powder. Witnessing this scene, the surrounding experts of the demon race, who were about to come to the rescue, unconsciously stopped in their tracks. They looked at the sky demon, who was blown into powder by the wind, with horrified gazes. A sky demon was actually turned into powder by Chun-Shi with a wave of his hand. Heaven-defying ability, fleeting youth. The Demon Empress actually has such terrifying combat strength. She actually turned a sky demon into powder with a wave of her hand. My goodness, is that the legendary heaven-defying ability, fleeting youth? The Demon Empress has always been inconspicuous, but I didn't expect her to be so terrifying when she is really angry. As expected, a person who can sit on the throne of the Demon Empress is definitely not an ordinary person. That heavenly demon must have been blind. He wanted to take the hostages, but he didn't expect that he would hit an iron plate and die on the spot. My goodness, even his divine soul dissipated. There's no possibility of him being reborn. Waves of shock surged in the hearts of the all-heavens cultivators. No one expected that Chun-Shi who was usually noble but had always been hiding in the jade pool, would have such monstrous strength? Shuaini, how dare you do such a despicable thing? I want her life. Di Shurtian's brows trembled violently, and his face was filled with boundless rage. A monstrous killing intent burst forth from his body. Step by step, he strode toward Shuaini with the posture of an emperor. Tiger Soul instantly slashed at Shuaini. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 10-11. Extreme Emperor Wei. Fear of life and death. Between life and death, there was a great terror. The longer one lived, the longer one's lifespan would be, and the stronger one's strength would be. Under the strong appearance, the fear of death in one's heart would grow with each passing day. Although, even if one died, as long as one's true spirit was not destroyed, there would be a chance for reincarnation. But in reincarnation, the power of reincarnation would seal one's memory, and even wash away one's memory with Granny Meng's soup. After reincarnation, one might not be their original self. No one wanted to fall from the peak and fall back into the mortal world. The fear of life and death was unavoidable even for peerless experts. Unless one was truly a peerless figure, the fear in one's heart would always exist. This move had infinitely magnified the terror of wandering between life and death. Shrouded in the door of life and death, countless terrifying scenes of life and death appeared in Shuaini's mind. Every scene was a replacement for himself. The inexplicable emptiness and loneliness before death filled his mind with countless emotions of fear. His mind was in a trance. Clang! And at this time, Di Shurtian, with the supreme posture of a sovereign overlooking the world in boundless anger towards Chen Shi's attack, poured a vast amount of power and the true power of the emperor into the tiger soul blade like a tide. Roar! In the tiger's soul, a golden divine tiger roared wildly, emitting a fierce, murderous aura. The tiger soul blade broke into the door of life and death. As if the door of life and death did not exist, it did not obstruct the tiger soul in the slightest. Roar! In a split second, Shuaini's blood drinker sword blocked above his head an inconceivable speed, colliding with the tiger's soul. A terrifying roar sounded, as if the door of life and death was about to be crushed by this destructive force. You want to capture Shi-Er and use her to threaten I? You should be honored. You have completely enraged me. Let me tell you, you're dead. You're finished. Even if the demon Ancestor descends, he won't be able to save your life. Heavenly Punishment World, pour all the power into my body. Break for I. Di Shurtian's black hair danced wildly behind his head. It exuded an incomparably domineering and arrogant aura. Although he was not handsome, his features were chiseled, and his face was filled with boundless dignity. He exuded a cold aura. He killed decisively. Within his body, his inner world, which had already matured to a certain level, instantly exerted all the power in the world on his body and poured it into the tiger's soul. Di Shurtian's aura rose to an inconceivable level in the blink of an eye. The resplendent saber gleam that burst forth from the tiger's soul became even more condensed. His strength instantly increased by several times. Crack! Shuaini himself was in a life and death situation, which affected his state of mind. He hastily waved the blood drinker sword to block the attack and was already in a slightly weakened state. At this moment, the mighty power that suddenly erupted from the tiger's soul poured down, causing the blood drinker sword to emit a clear and crisp sound. At the position where the sword and the tiger's soul collided, a sinister crack appeared without warning. In the span of a few breaths, this crack rapidly spread across the entire sword at an astonishing speed. Like a spider web, it densely covered the entire blood drinker sword. Unsurprisingly, the blood drinker sword shattered into thousands of fragments and splashed in all directions. The tiger soul took advantage of the opportunity to strike. It drew a perfect arc of light in the void. Crack! There was almost no suspense. Under the tiger's soul, Shuaini was cleaved into two halves on the spot. Wherever the tiger's soul passed, streams of essence and blood were constantly devoured. Whoosh! Shuaini was an unparalleled demon emperor, after all. Even if he was cleaved into two halves and suffered great damage in an instant, his demonic body, which had been cleaved into two halves, suddenly transformed into two blood shadows at an incredible speed. These two blood shadows were like illusory shadows that shuttled through the void without hindrance. They turned around and pounced on the countless cultivators and demons in the demon court. One of the all-heavens cultivators only saw a blood shadow flash before his eyes and pierce through his body. He only had time to let out a shrill scream before his body completely withered and decayed. The blood and flesh in his body were instantly devoured, and even his spirit turned into a blood-colored strand of hair that merged into the blood shadow. In the demon court, any enemy will be mercilessly attacked and killed. The space will turn into a cage that imprisons all enemies. The seal will turn into iron chains, and the sound waves will annihilate everything. Di Shurtian, who was holding the tiger soul in his hand, saw that the blood shadows were still going on a rampage in the ancient city. His face was filled with anger and coldness, and he did not hesitate to berate them. Rumble! As soon as he finished speaking, streaks of silver-white divine splendor flickered in the void and instantly condensed into silver iron rods that gathered together to form a cage. They instantly appeared in front of the two blood shadows and bound them in a cage. The snow-white iron chains were like a spider web, covering the entire cage tightly. Clang, clang, clang. Ding-dong. Countless mysterious musical notes appeared from the void. These musical notes rushed into the cage and gathered together to form many mystical musical instruments. There were zither, flutes, guzheng, pipa, war drums, ancient bells, eru, and so on. All kinds of musical instruments appeared in an instant. As soon as these musical instruments appeared, they emitted crisp sounds that transformed into countless dense sound blades. Each of the sound blades contained boundless sharpness as they swept toward the Shuaini that the two blood shadows had reformed. Sound waves filled every inch of space in the cage. The space inside the cage was distorted in an inconceivable way. Every inch of space was vibrating at a frequency of billions of times per second. The sound of bells, zither, and pipa filled the cage. These sound attacks were infused with the power of the entire demon court. Not good. The sound wave attack was almost unstoppable. Shuaini, who had just recovered, had a look of horror on his face. His entire body was swept into the countless sound waves. On the spot, countless sound waves vibrated crazily. The mighty power that was produced was almost irresistible. This was the power of the demon court. His body was shattered inch by inch. However, he was very tenacious. Even if he was shattered, he still condensed into blood-red crystals of flesh and blood that resisted the sound wave attack. All the ice power in the world, listen to my command. Freeze the flesh and blood. Freeze everything. The power of the seal has been completely suppressed. Waves of snow-white ice power flashed out of the void and swept toward the cage. Even if only a trace of the ice power leaked out, it caused countless terrifying ice crystals to appear in the void and spread in all directions. What a terrifying ice power. I feel like my flesh and blood is about to be frozen on the spot. Even the circulation of dermic power has become difficult. This ice power is simply terrifying. Even a trace of it can freeze thousands of miles and turn it into an ice domain in an instant. Among the all-heavens cultivators, some of the eternal giants began to change their expressions. Sensing the terrifying power of the ice energy in the void, the ancient giants would be frozen on the spot if they went over. There wouldn't be the slightest bit of accident. Crash! Shuaini was severely injured in one move in the gates of life and death, and immediately fell into a disadvantageous position. Now, under Di Shurtian's edicts, the void was imprisoned. Even his blood-red shadow couldn't break the imprisonment. This imprisonment was personally cast by the four cardinal gates. Under the gates of life and death, there was no chance of escape. In the time it took for a spark to fly off a piece of flint, the power of ice swept over. Immediately, the 129,600 drops of blood essence were frozen on the spot, turning into a huge block of profound ice. The profound ice was so hard that even divine weapons could not break it in the slightest. Crack! The moment those essence blood crystals were sealed in ice, there seemed to be a soundless cracking sound coming from within them. The light emitted from the crystals seemed to dim a little. Will collapse. Tion was surprised, but he immediately sneered. These drops of blood contain the great Tao of blood. Now is the time to use them to complete my great Tao of blood. Without hesitation, he waved his hand. Immediately, the frozen drops of blood essence sank into the demon court and appeared on the Imperial Jade Archive in the blink of an eye. The drops of blood essence were quickly refined by the chaotic divine flame. The will within them collapsed without any resistance. They were refined into the purest blood fragments on the spot and quickly merged with the Imperial Jade Archive. Among the fragments, there was a peerless demonic technique, the Blood God Sutra. However, due to the collapse of the will within, more than half of this demonic technique was obviously incomplete. Crash! Xueyi cultivated the Blood God Sutra. It could be said that he had obtained the most complete inheritance of the great Tao of blood. His understanding of the great Tao of blood had reached an unbelievable level. Even his flesh and blood contained endless essence of the great Tao of blood. As soon as it merged, the blood talisman in the Imperial Jade Archive, which had been repaired by 1/10, suddenly shot out countless rays of blood-red light. Within the talisman, a sea of blood was faintly brewing. It was being born, outlining countless mysterious blood patterns. The talisman grew at a speed visible to the naked eye. There was a faint sound of heavenly music in it. An incomplete Blood God Sutra was slowly being preached in the heavenly music of the great Tao. It contained endless profound principles. Drops of blood essence melted into the Imperial Jade Archive at an astonishing speed. Rumble. Not long after, the heavenly music of the great Tao appeared in the Imperial Jade Archive. All the drops of blood essence were refined. At the same time, the blood talisman in the Imperial Jade Archive was also completed. There was a vast sea of blood in it. The moment it was completed, the blood talisman also split into an illusory shadow and imprinted itself on the illusory lotus platform in the void. One of the lotus platforms instantly turned into a blood lotus and materialized. Heaven and earth were split open inside, evolving into a small world. That world was filled with a vast sea of blood. The blood in the Imperial Jade Archive continued to surge. To be continued. If you like this work, you're welcome to come to Qidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 10-12. Boom! On the demon court, streaks of blood-red Tao runes appeared out of thin air, quickly forming mysterious runes on every inch of the ancient city. In an instant, the ancient city seemed to be filled with an inexplicable vitality, as if the ancient city had an extra bloodline. There was blood flowing. As a result, the aura of the Lingxiao demon court became even more concealed. The great Tao of blood has been completed? No, it's the aura of the blood god. Could it be that the blood god has also been killed by the demon emperor? In the absolute monarch realm Jade Archive, the eyebrows of the savage blood demon emperor, who was tightly wrapped in the blood lotus, twitched intensely. A strong sense of worry appeared in his heart. With this feeling, the savage blood demon emperor keenly sensed that the blood great Tao in the Jade Archive had already reached initial perfection. As for the erosion of the blood lotus, because of the completion of the great Tao of blood, it had become abnormally strong. It was 10 times, no, 100 times stronger than before. The savage blood demon emperor immediately knew about this change. An indescribable expression appeared on his pale face as he muttered to himself, "What a terrifying demonic emperor." And this sovereign artifact, it actually has 3,000 great Daos. Once the demonic emperor completes all the great Daos, it will be incredible. I'm afraid we won't be able to stop him. However, the blood god had always been intelligent and always acted after planning. He shouldn't die so easily. I still have a chance to escape. The demon emperor pondered for a while, then immediately continued to heal his injuries. He secretly resisted the boundless power emitted from the Ultimate Emperor Jade archive. Poof! The moment Di Shirtian completely froze Shui Ini's essence blood in a hidden valley tens of thousands of miles away from the demon court. A young man in blood-red clothes, who was sitting cross-legged in a pool of blood, suddenly trembled violently. He spat out a mouthful of blood without warning. Looking at his face, it was Shui Ini, who had fallen in the demon court. Using strength to prove one's Tao. What a domineering battle strength. The demon court is indeed terrifying. Its potential is terrifying, and it has the potential to reach the immortal realm. This demon emperor will definitely be a great enemy when I, Mo Shun, take over the origin world in the future. Unfortunately, the demon emperor did not capture the demon empress. Otherwise, the demon emperor might have been able to rescue Lu Xinxue and deal a blow to the demon emperor's rising prestige in the demon race. Shuini's mouth was stained with blood, and his eyes flashed with a faint light. He muttered to himself, "A moment of youth? I didn't expect that the demon empress, who has never shown herself, would have such a terrifying technique. I miscalculated this time." Unfortunately, the Lingxiao Demon Court is very strange, and I can't bring too many people in. Otherwise, I might have a chance today. But my blood god's blood god. There was a hint of regret in his tone, as if he was in pain. Shuini was a smart guy. He knew clearly what kind of place the Demon Court was. It was a supreme divine artifact. With his strength that had not completely recovered, it would be a headache to face a supreme divine artifact. How could he rush in recklessly? He just used his essence blood to form a blood god doppelganger. This doppelganger had all his battle strength. Even its aura was no different. It was almost one with him. He used the doppelganger to hide in the demon court so that he could abandon the doppelganger when necessary. He didn't want to fail to save the demon emperor and get trapped. But the loss of the doppelganger was also a great loss to him. His strength was faintly showing signs of falling below the unparalleled demon emperor. The rise of the demon race is unstoppable. Shuini's eyes were deep as the image of the stairway to the heavens in the Ling Xiao demon court appeared in his mind. He was well aware of the importance of the stairway to heaven. With the stairway to heaven, the younger generation of the demon race with potential would rise at an incredible speed. They would transform into experts in an extremely short period of time. With such an ultimate inheritance, no one in the world could stop the development of the demon race. In addition to Di Shirtian's battle strength and the cohesion of the demon race, the demon court would definitely occupy an important position in the world. Fortunately, the demon race has a deep hatred for the human race. Now that the human race is the main character of the world, even if the human race is in great trouble, the demon race will stand by and watch the human race fall coldly. Maybe the demon race will not participate in the war after the annihilation tide. The human race has turned against us. Good job. Shuini's eyes flashed with an evil light. He clicked his tongue and laughed strangely. Not long after, he closed his eyes and began to cultivate quietly. At this moment, in the Ling Xiao demon court, after witnessing Di Shirtian kill the demon god that had infiltrated the Ling Xiao demon court, countless cheers erupted from the mouths of the demons after a moment of silence. His Majesty's power is boundless. Even an unparalleled demon emperor can be killed. Anyone who dares to provoke him should be suppressed and beaten to death. Shifter Emperor. This is the Shifter Emperor that our Shifter race should have. Please ascend to the throne, Your Majesty. Other than Your Majesty, no one else will acknowledge you. When the shifter race is in trouble, only your majesty will extend a helping hand to save us. His majesty, please ascend the throne. His majesty, please ascend the throne. The demon race looked at Di Shurtian and felt the supreme emperor's power exuding from him. They all shouted with fanatical emotions. A strong sense of expectation and desire spread through the air. Husband, I am fine. Please ascend the throne as soon as possible. Chunshi handed Qingxia to Bai Susu. When he saw Di Shurtian looking at him, he knew what he meant. He felt warmth in his heart and hurriedly said in a low voice. Di Shurtian scanned the demon court. Seeing the countless expectant eyes, he took a deep breath and nodded. I have risen from humble beginnings. Today, I am indebted to the many brothers of the demon race. It would be impolite for I to refuse. Today, I ascend the throne. Once again, I promise that I will not regret it, even if I die 10,000 times for the sake of the demon race. As soon as he finished speaking, an invisible and vast fortune immediately descended on him like a tide. In an instant, it was as if he was completely connected with the entire demon race. The emperor's robe on his body received the vast and boundless fortune of the demon race and immediately glowed with a mysterious light. The azure dragon, white tiger, black tortoise, vermilion bird, and Qilin all flew out from his body. They revolved around him. Crisp whistling sounds could be heard. In contrast, the emperor's aura on his body became even more intense and astonishing. It was so intense that no one dared to look at him directly. Endless Emperor's aura flooded the entire ancient city like a tide. An invisible pressure fell on every cultivator. Even their minds seemed to be intimidated by this Emperor's aura. They had the illusion that they did not dare to look at him directly. Whoosh! At this moment, a snow-white divine light suddenly broke through the air from a mysterious place in the purple-gold continent without any warning. It headed toward the demon court and appeared outside the city in the blink of an eye. Moreover, that divine light carried an inexplicable, mysterious power. The four directions' heavenly gates did not block it. It directly passed through the heavenly gates and entered the demon court. Appearing in the void, the divine light circled a few times in the air, full of spirituality. When it arrived above Di Shurtian, the divine light suddenly stopped and fell straight toward him. Smack! Di Shurtian naturally stretched out his left hand. The divine light landed on his left hand and made a soft sound. Then the divine light dissipated. A square imperial jade seal appeared in his hand. The imperial jade seal carried an inexplicable emperor's will. The four sides of the imperial jade seal each had a totem portrait of an azure dragon, a white tiger, a black tortoise, and a vermilion bird. On the imperial jade seal, the image of a Qilin was engraved. This was an extremely unique top-grade Khanate spiritual treasure. It did not have much attack power, but it could carry boundless providence. This imperial jade seal, could it be the legendary one? Quick, quick, look at the bottom of the imperial jade seal. Ming's breathing was a little rapid. He could not help but shout. Di Shurtian turned the bottom of the imperial jade seal to his eyes. Under the imperial jade seal, there were 8 divine runes. Carry the heavenly fate, live forever and prosper. These 8 divine runes seemed to contain a mysterious power. It seemed to carry the supreme power of destiny. The Emperor's Tao was the Tao of destiny. An emperor's golden mouth could change the fate of countless people. This imperial jade seal was the symbol of an emperor. Once the imperial jade seal fell, it carried the emperor's will. It's really it. This is an emperor's supreme treasure that was born in the chaos. It belongs to an emperor, the heavenly fate imperial jade seal. It is said that a powerful figure of the demon race obtained it back then, but no one can prove whether the news is true or not. Who would have thought that it would suddenly appear when you became the emperor? It seems that the powerful figures of the demon race are secretly infusing you. Ming shouted excitedly in his heart. He looked at the imperial jade seal with envy. This was a true emperor's supreme treasure. Only those who cultivated the emperor's Tao could use it. It was infinitely helpful in gathering providence. Most importantly, this imperial jade seal could suppress providence and prevent it from dissipating. This was the most precious thing about it. Whoosh! Just as Indrashurtian was crowned as emperor and obtained the heavenly fate imperial jade seal, the demon's sealing roll that was originally hanging on the demon's sealing platform suddenly gathered together with countless purple mist. A true spirit flew out from Sumo's body and rushed into the roll. Inside the demon's sealing rankings, the true spirit was madly devouring the vast amount of purple chi. It quickly condensed into a purple gold star. This star was much larger than the stars formed by the other true spirits on the rankings. It was much more resplendent. Around the star, there were mysterious rings of light. The halos devoured a large amount of demon race's providence and continuously refined the star. Not long after, the star shrank with every rotation of the halos. In the blink of an eye, it condensed into a purple-gold hexagonal crystal. This crystal carried a mysterious heavenly fate Taoist rhyme. Halos revolved around the purple-gold crystal. There were a total of 9 halos. Rumble. Every single strand of true spirit was a constellation. However, Sakura's constellation was tempered into a violet gold crystal. In addition, in an instant, a mysterious throne condensed within the ranking board. On the throne, the divine image of Sakura could be seen floating in the air. It was full of majesty. The moment the divine statue appeared, the purple gold crystal imprinted between its eyebrows. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 10:13. In an instant, the purple gold crystal fused perfectly with the true spirit statue within. A hexagonal crystal appeared between the statue's eyebrows. It sat on the supreme throne, filled with endless emperor aura. A supreme pressure naturally spread out and filled the entire demon sealing leaderboard. It was like the emperor of all the true spirits on the leaderboard. The hexagonal crystal exuded a powerful pressure that transcended the mortal world. This pressure was comparable to a peerless master. Hiss! What is that? The demon sealing leaderboard can condense a divine statue? And what is that purple gold crystal? I feel like I'm facing a peerless master on it. What's going on? Legend has it that the demon summoning banner has the miraculous ability to protect one's true spirit and make it eternal. This demon sealing roll was refined from the demon summoning banner. Logically speaking, the ability to protect one's true spirit should be its most basic ability. Could it be that this demon sealing roll has some other inconceivable power? I feel the rhythm of fate on the leaderboard, as if there's a mysterious mandate of heaven inside. When the heavenly Tao fuses with fate, it's the supreme mandate of heaven. How can there be such a power on the leaderboard? Could it be that the crystal is the legendary fate? This call caused the all heavens cultivators to stop their discussion and fall into a deathly silence. Only heavy breathing reverberated in the air as pairs of eyes stared at the demon sealing leaderboard like wolves. Fate. It was an extremely miraculous existence. It was like the fate of all living things in the world was in the long river of fate. Some fates were already predetermined, while others were full of contradictions. However, there was one thing that was so illusory that even the long river of fate couldn't change it. It was a fate born from the fusion of the heavenly Tao and fate. Fate was illusory and hidden in the long river of fate. It didn't show the mountains or the water. Ordinary people couldn't find it. For example, at the moment of birth, an ordinary mortal would naturally have a destiny. This destiny determined that he would become the prime minister of the mortal world. Then, his body would naturally exude an invisible air of nobility and even a strange appearance. Some fortune tellers could often tell their achievements through these phenomena that ordinary people couldn't see. However, it was also 30% destined by the heavens and 70% determined by the words of the sages. If one did not work hard, no matter how high one's life providence was, it was still possible for one to accomplish nothing. A life providence only determined the highest achievement in one's life. That doesn't mean you can do it easily. However, one's fate will have a huge impact on one's true self. For example, if you're destined to be the prime minister, then your official career will be smooth sailing until you reach the position of prime minister. It was the same when it came to cultivation. Cultivation was a path that defied the heavens, and fate often couldn't limit a cultivator's achievements. However, the level of one's fate determined the lowest level one could reach. If one was destined to become an immortal king, then under the influence of one's fate, one would be able to smoothly break through all the bottlenecks in one's cultivation. As long as one persevered, they would definitely be able to become an immortal king. However, once one reached the immortal king realm, it would be extremely difficult to take another step forward. Every step forward was a breakthrough in one's fate. His cultivation speed would definitely be extremely slow. This was also a manifestation of potential. Heaven-defying, this was heaven-defying. Cultivation was heaven-defying, and what it went against was one's own fate. Who announced the appointment? When Di Shurtian saw the statue condensed on the demon sealing list, a light flashed in his hand, and a purple-gold imperial edict appeared. He threw it at Hu below. The imperial edict seemed to be held by an invisible hand and quickly appeared in front of Hu. When Hu saw it, his face was flushed with excitement. At such an important moment, the imperial edict was not given to anyone else but to him. If this wasn't the imperial favor, what was it? He knew that this was the friendship that he had accumulated from following him from when he was still a nobody. Otherwise, among the billions of demons, he might not be ranked first in terms of intelligence. It was all because of the friendship from back then that his current position was as stable as Mount Tai. When the Demon King became the emperor, the old officials like them would rise to the heavens. The carp leaping over the dragon's gate. Yes, your majesty, who stretched out his hands and respectfully held the imperial edict in his hands. He felt that the imperial edict contained a strong will of the emperor. His heart skipped a beat. After agreeing to Di Shurtian, he opened the imperial edict. With just a glance, his heart trembled violently. The emperor says, in accordance with the will of the ancient heroic spirits, today I will enjoy the position of the demon emperor. The demon court will be established. However, the glory of the demon court also needs the countless heroes of the demon race to take care of it. Together, we will witness the rise of the demon court. I have risen from humble beginnings. Along the way, I have been accompanied by countless brothers. I have made boundless contributions to the demon race. Today, I will confer the title of minister. She will be the demon empress in charge of the Jade Pool and enjoy the fate of an ancient demon god. As Hu read out the edict, his voice trembled slightly. I accept the order. Chun-Shi looked at Di Shurtian, who was standing on the demon sealing platform. A trace of pride flashed in her eyes. This is my husband. Swoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, a true spirit flew out of Chun-Shi's body and entered the demon sealing chart. Under the mysterious power of the demon sealing chart, the vast amount of chi from the demon sealing chart quickly condensed. Just like before, it condensed into a 7-colored crystal. It was Chun-Shi's birth chart. In the birth chart, one could clearly see 9 halos slowly rotating. Rumble. On the demon sealing chart, a phoenix throne appeared next to Di Shurtian's statue. On the phoenix throne, the true spirit gathered the chi from the demon race and condensed into a statue that looked exactly like Chun-Shi. The 7-colored birth chart instantly imprinted itself between her eyebrows, emitting a 7-colored halo that emitted a dense pressure. She naturally exuded the bearing of a mother of the world. Birth chart. That's really a birth chart. The demon sealing chart can actually condense birth charts and even change them according to the demon emperor's edict. Heavens, the demon sealing chart actually has such a terrifying ability. This demon sealing actually seals a fate. My goodness, with a fate and a ladder to the heavens, the demon court will be able to confer titles to all of its officials. I'm afraid they'll immediately become powerful experts. The heavenly fortune jade seal can suppress chi, the heavenly ladder can pass down the great Tao, and the demon sealing chart can confer titles to ministers. The demon court has such a deep foundation. All the cultivators looked at the demon sealing chart with fervent gazes. They couldn't wait to seize it and make it their own treasure to seal their own birth charts. A birth chart that determined one's success. Who didn't want one? They could already see that the demon court would rise at an incredible speed today. Confer. Katomi is a demon concubine, titled Consort Sheen. She will live in the Jade Lake's Aster Palace and enjoy the birth chart of an ancient demon god, who continued to read. With every sentence, the white beard on his chin trembled. Ding, ding, ding. The same scene appeared on the demon sealing chart again, but this time, a snow-white birth chart was condensed. There were also 9 halos in the birth chart. On a phoenix throne, a statue of Katomi appeared and fused with the birth chart. At the moment of fusion, Katomi could clearly feel the great Tao of rhythm in her mind clearer than ever. The original bottleneck seemed to be easily broken through. This was a breakthrough in the birth chart. Confer. Su Tianxiang as a demon concubine, titled Consort Xiang. She will live in the Jade Lake's Heavenly Fragrance Palace and enjoy the birth chart of an ancient demon god. Rumble. Another white birth chart appeared on the demon sealing chart. 9 halos spun continuously in the birth chart. A statue of Baihu appeared on the chart and fused with the birth chart. Confer. Di Tianyu as one of the 6 royals, titled Ancient Celestial Emperor. He will live in the Ancient Celestial Palace and enjoy the birth chart of an ancient demon god. The 6 royals were created by Mengshi and the others through discussion. They were in charge of various functions and were honorable positions that assisted the demon emperor in managing the demon court. The 6 royals were titled Celestial Emperors. Although it was only a title and did not require them to cultivate the emperor's path, they were only second to the demon emperor in terms of prestige. Similarly, the existence of the 6 royals was a kind of spur to the demons. Only one of the 6 royals was conferred. There were still 5 vacant seats. Those who were conferred the 6 royals would enjoy the birth chart of an ancient demon god. Under the demon emperor were the 6 royals. Who's Di Tianyu? Why haven't I heard of him before? Why is he conferred the title of one of the 6 royals? The cultivators were puzzled. However, they did not pay too much attention to it. The conferment continued. Confer. Empress Dowager. Confer. Dealing as the eldest princess, titled Princess Changsheng. Confer. Dian as the crown prince. Confer. As the princess, titled Princess Ta. Confer. Yao Yu as the holy mother. One after another, the conferment of titles was read out. Immediately, a new birth chart would appear on the demon sealing roll. These were all existences closest to Di Shurtian, and each of them represented the birth chart of an ancient demon god. The demon sealing roll was incomparably wondrous, but it also had its own limitations. Di Shurtian was the leader of the demon sealing roll, so the birth charts conferred on the roll could not be higher than his. Now that he was comparable to a peerless expert, the highest birth chart conferred on him was the birth chart of an ancient demon god. When a man attained the Tao, even his chickens and dogs would ascend to the heavens, let alone his relatives. Naturally, the conferment of titles pushed the birth charts to the limit. Following that, a series of conferments were read out. Each and every one of them caused the hearts of the cultivators in the all heavens to pound. The emperor says, the demon court is divided into 6 ministries. The Ministry of Personnel, the Ministry of Revenue, the Ministry of Rights, the Ministry of War, the Ministry of Justice, and the Ministry of Works. The Ministry of Personnel is in charge of appointing officials of the demon court. The Ministry of Revenue is in charge of the number of demonlings in the demon court. The Ministry of Rights is in charge of etiquette and education. The Ministry of War is in charge of mobilizing armies and conquering heaven and earth. The Ministry of Works is in charge of smithing, concocting pills, brewing wine, and other such matters. Today, I confer titles to the officials. In the demon court, all of the cultivators and demonlings gathered their wits. If the previous conferment was said to be closer to the demon emperor and could be said to be the royal family of the demon race, then the current conferment was the one that truly operated the various functions of the demon court of Lingxiao. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 10:14. Heh, 1,000 chapters. I never thought it would be so long. It's considered a breakthrough. It was also a conferment that truly concerned the fate of the demons. Only a perfect and complete demon court could truly benefit the entire demon race. This was an institution that the demons needed to be familiar with in the future. Every function might be directly related to them. With such an important impact, no one dared to be careless at this time. These 6 functions were actually guided by Shurtian from the side. He borrowed from the various dynasties of ancient Huaxia in his previous life and condensed the essence of it after countless trials and tribulations. The 6 departments were almost in charge of all kinds of functions. As long as they were operated well, it was enough to make the entire demon court operate at high speed, like a precision machine. The 6 departments are divided into the recruitment department, the conferment department, the disciplinary department, and the meritorious service department. Recruitment department, responsible for the examination of the ranks of the demon court officials, including their listing, conferment, selection, and promotion. Responsible for the recruitment of officials. Conferment department, responsible for the conferment of nobility in the demon court. Disciplinary department, responsible for the enforcement of the demon court's civil service officials, whether they have a clean background, citizenship, and reclaiming their names. Meritorious Service Department, responsible for the punishment of the demon court officials and the discussion of their own merits. Above the 6 departments are the left and right prime ministers. Conferment, who will be the left prime minister, temporarily in charge of the Ministry of Personnel and select officials. First grade. Salary, 100,000 demon coins per month. Life Providence, ancient sky demon, the corners of whose mouth trembled slightly. His face was flushed with excitement. After he finished reciting, a true spirit in his body flew into the demon sealing roll. Inside, a life providence quickly condensed. 8 circles of light appeared in this life providence. It meant that this life providence was the life providence of an ancient sky demon, whose statue quickly condensed and fused with the life providence. On the demon's sealing roll, he faced Shurtian and stood respectfully at the first position on the left. Your humble servant thanks your majesty for bestowing this title. From now on, I will do my best for the demon court and will not disappoint your majesty's expectations. After who finished reading, he looked excited and knelt down to Shurtian without hesitation. He said loudly, every word of his carried a kind of heartfelt sincerity. The left prime minister was the head of the civil officials. What kind of trust was this? How could he not feel the same way? He was absolutely loyal. Get up and continue reading. Shurtian nodded. With the establishment of the demon court this time, he naturally wouldn't mistreat these courtiers who had followed him all this time. Not only did he have to reward them, but he also had to reappoint them. These people who had followed him all the way here were the most loyal to him. They were his most precious wealth. The reward this time was also for all the demons to see. As long as they had the ability, even if they came from a humble background, they would still be able to rise to a high position. The functions of the Ministry of Revenue, responsible for all the territory of the demon court, 129,600 spaces, farmland, household registration, taxes, salaries, and all financial matters. It is divided into the Department of Measurement, the Department of Household Registration, the Department of Revenue Suppression, the Department of Coinage, and the Department of Salaries. The Jubao Court will be incorporated into the Ministry of Revenue. The functions of the Ministry of Rites: responsible for ceremonial matters, the use of auspicious, military, guest, and fiend ceremonies. It is divided into the Department of Rites, the Department of Ancestral Priests, the Department of Foreign Guests, and the Department of Casting Seals. The functions of the Ministry of War: responsible for military matters in the Demon Court. The functions of the Ministry of Justice: responsible for the Demon Court's laws, punishments, cases, and apprehension of criminals. The functions of the Ministry of Works: responsible for the Demon Court's various buildings, casting, and even refining weapons and pills. With a series of words, he quickly announced the 6 functions of the Demon Court to the entire demon race. The various functions were abnormally clear and simple. Just by listening, all the demons in the ancient city understood the role of the 6 departments. Some of the ambitious demons could not help but have their eyes lit up. Upon hearing the division of the 6 departments, they vaguely guessed that now that the Demon Court had just been established, the demand for officials would definitely be unprecedentedly huge. As long as they seized the opportunity, they would immediately be able to leap through the Dragon's Gate and become famous in one fell swoop. They might even be able to rise to the top. Their hearts were burning with passion. "Where is Mengshi?" Who shouted. "Mengshi is here." Nightmare Demon King Mengshi took a step forward and stood respectfully. Mengshi is hereby appointed as the right Prime Minister of the Demon Court. She is in charge of military mobilization. She will fight in all directions. She will be ranked first. Salary: 100,000 demon coins per month. Life Providence: Ancient Sky Demon. Mengshi is defeated. Thank you, Emperor. When Mengshi heard this, she bowed respectfully and accepted the position of right Prime Minister. The power and authority of this position was immeasurable. She was in charge of military affairs, which meant that she was in charge of the mobilization of the various legions. Given Mengshi's abilities, it was just right for her to hold such a high position. As of this moment, the position belonged to none other than him. The Ministry of War has 5 legions: Azure Dragon, Vermilion Bird, Black Tortoise, White Tiger, and Qilin. Qihua is appointed as the Azure Dragon Legion's Generalissimo. Long Yu is appointed as the Deputy Generalissimo. Generalissimo is ranked 2nd. Salary: 80,000 demon coins per month. Life Providence: Ancient Sky Demon. Deputy Generalissimo is ranked 3rd. Salary: 70,000 demon coins per month. Life Providence: Ancient Sky Demon. Qihua and Long Yu stepped forward and bowed at the same time. Life Providence was formed. Eagle Void is appointed as the Vermilion Bird Legion's Generalissimo. Jin Xian is appointed as the Deputy Generalissimo. Yuan Zhan is appointed as the White Tiger Legion's Generalissimo. Quinyu is appointed as the Deputy Generalissimo. Xiongba is appointed as the Black Tortoise Legion's Generalissimo. Shui Ling is appointed as the Deputy Generalissimo. Shi Tian is appointed as the Qilin Legion's Generalissimo. The position of Deputy Generalissimo is currently vacant. There weren't many changes to the Generalissimo of the 5 legions. According to Di Shitian's original plan, the 5 legions should have been led by the 5 imperial clans of the demon race in ancient times. However, now that the Azure Dragon, Vermilion Bird, Black Tortoise, White Tiger, and Qilin Legion have been separated, they could only be led by their original members. Everyone who was called stepped forward to express their gratitude. Their true spirits flew up to the demon sealing roll, where they condensed one divine image after another and received one life providence after another. Military Governor is to join the Ministry of War. He is to lead the Azura Killers and be in charge of the training of the Demon Army. Anyone who wishes to join the Demon Army in Myriad Demon City must undergo the Military Governor's training, including discipline, battle skills, and teamwork. Rank 2, 80,000 demon coins per month. Life Providence, ancient heavenly demon. Azura Killers took a step forward. A hint of excitement could be seen in his eyes. Although his face was expressionless, he could clearly sense the great benefits of condensing one's life providence. The Heavenly Punishment Legion is to join the Ministry of War. Its subordinates are the Heaven Division, Earth Division, Black Division, Yellow Division, U Division, Ian Division, Hong Division, and Desolate Division. There are 8 divisions. Each division is temporarily set to have 1 million demon soldiers. Blood Devouring is to be the Heaven Division's commander. Rank 2, 80,000 demon coins per month. Life Providence, ancient heavenly demon. The Ministry of War is to expand the 12 Zodiac Legions. There are currently no commanders for each division. The first division is to be established. Only those with the bloodline of the 12 Zodiac Beasts can enter. The number of demon soldiers in each division is temporarily set to be 300,000. Blood Devouring is to be the commander of the demon guards. He will join the Ministry of Justice to supervise thousands of demons. Rank 2, 80,000 demon coins per month. Life Providence, ancient heavenly demon, who read out the orders one by one. One by one, the conferred demons condense their god statues on the demon sealing roll and condense their life providences. Almost all the demons that had followed him in the past were all heavily rewarded and conferred high positions. They enjoyed their life providences. It took an entire day for the conferment to be completed. When all the conferments were read out, the All Heavens cultivators were still shocked. When Di Shurtian saw this, he waved his hand, and all the conferred officials entered the Lingxiao Palace. He sat on the throne. Di Shurtian scanned the officials in the hall. They were all old officials. He thought to himself, the demon court is so huge. These officials are far from enough. I have to select a group of capable officials as soon as possible. Left Prime Minister. Di Shurtian looked at Hu and said, naturally, there was a kind of majesty that intimidated the entire hall. Your servant is here. Hu immediately stepped forward, stood in the hall, and answered respectfully. As the Left Prime Minister, you are in charge of the Ministry of Personnel and other matters except for the Ministry of War. Now, the Demon Court has just been established. If it wants to operate, it needs a large number of officials. Pass this Emperor's decree. A year later, recruit talents from the entire demon race. Those who have management talent can be hired. Yes. When Hu heard this, he nodded and agreed. He also knew that selecting a group of core members was the most important thing now. It was urgent, so he naturally agreed. Order the Demon Court to open the 129,600 worlds in the Demon Court. The demons can choose to enter the worlds they like and live there. Build cities. All the small worlds can return to the Demon Court through the well of demons and gods. Each world should have a realm lord. If a city is built in the world, there should be a city lord. After the outstanding talents are selected, they will be placed in the 129,600 worlds. Di Shurtian said again. Although the Demon Court continued to increase with the grade of the ancient city, there was a huge expansion every time, making the interior extremely spacious. However, the number of demons increased rapidly. If all of them lived in the ancient city, it would inevitably be a little too messy. And the 129,600 worlds derived from the ancient city had been completely stabilized. They had obtained the wealth and resources in the spatial faults in the forbidden area of Tianmen. These derived worlds had become incomparably rich, and even the size of the world had become incomparably huge. It was just enough for most of the demons to live in. Open the 129,600 worlds. In the hall, a thoughtful look appeared in the eyes of the officials. After experiencing the benefits, it would be easier to manage. The 3 lists and 1 chart is about to reopen. Before that, all of you should go to the Heavenly Ladder to train a few times. Although the rankings on the 3 lists and 1 chart have little to do with us demons, we can't let the various races think that there are no strong people in the Demon Court. The killing field will always be the best place to improve one's cultivation. Tian's eyes were filled with determination as he swept his gaze over the demons. He had a premonition that the reopening of the 3 lists and 1 chart was very close. Once it opened, the cultivators of the various heavens would fight for it at all costs. For a long time, people like Hu and Mengxi had lacked a strong opponent to train with. Under the protection of the supreme divine artifact of the demon court, they rarely had the chance to fight alone. This time, it was an excellent opportunity to train. With the demon sealing list, he was not afraid that they would die in a battle. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.